degrees. Isn't it weird how in the fall 50 degrees feels so cold, but in the spring 50 degrees feels like woohoo?
Yeah, I think you're right, Jean.
Yeah.
There's something different in the way the sun is, I think.
Maybe.
Well, I think in the winter,
thinner.
yeah, your body is so used to the warm weather from the summer, then when it becomes 50, it's like, oh, that's cold. So
Yeah.
you're comparing it to, the previous month or whatever.
Yeah.
It's weird how.
Let me see.
And especially, I go to the store and I see these people in flip-flops with bare feet and.
I know.
Carol, where are you? You're in Florida, right?
Right, I'm down on the southwest coast.
Okay.
So, yeah.
It's like they refuse to wear pants down here. That's
Like Fort Myers area or
What's that?
Naples, Fort Myers, we're southwest.
I'm just above, I'm about 2 hours above Fort Myers. I'm between Fort Myers and Tampa.
Oh, okay, Venice area?
Yeah, I guess so.
I have a lot of relatives in that.
Well, I'm in Bradenton.
Yep, yeah.
Yeah, it's really has some nice potentials here, but.
Yeah, it's a beautiful area.
Yeah, my brother's in Tarpon Springs.
Oh,
Right above Tampa there.
yeah.
My
We
sister's
visit
in
Venice
Clearwater.
often because my aunt lives in Venice, so we go there quite a
Robin,
bit. And Fort Myers, we used to go every year to Fort Myers.
did you get the link or did you just put the numbers in?
Oh,
I just put the numbers in.
Okay, all right. Because I'm sure we sent that. I didn't send them out this morning. Sydney did. And
Okay.
there's one other person that's on the list with you. And I want to make sure that she sent it to her too. Where is it?
Yeah, I double checked this morning again, and
You send to monthly. We have two lists. One is to people who paid from September, to May. And then another list where we've got like people who've just joined or they're paying month to month. And sometimes when somebody else sends them out, they forget to send to the monthly list. So I just double checked. Yeah, she said she sent it. So you still get that link later.
I probably will.
It depends on how the internet is working.
Oh yeah.
Very much so. Okay, here's Jean. Good. Oh, this is, I really miss you ladies when I don't see you for such a long time.
I know. It does
Been a
seem
long
funny
time.
between the last class of the month and the first of the following month. It seems like a long time in between classes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
yes, it did. Well, we lose some of our socialization.
Yeah.
We do like to chat with each other, don't we? It's nice in a way though, because you don't really have to feel pressured to get your blocks done in a hurry. You've got a couple weeks to work on them in between classes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. On the other hand, you've got so many other projects that you're doing that I can see where it feels like, besides, we just get excited and want to get them done.
That's right.
Did you, some of you had some issues with the December blocks.
Oh, hello.
Well, that's where you use our Facebook page, and I like that you're using it. Some of you, will take a picture and put it in there and say, what do you think?
What's your dog breed? What kind is your dog?
So it's my daughter's dog. It's a French bulldog, and he's at my feet. That's why I try to pick him up, because he's like wanting me to pet him and play with him, and I'm too busy right now. I thought if I picked him up, pet him, and let him down, he'd run away. And he did.
Eileen, do you remember Arnie? My little dachshund?
Yeah.
He had surgery last Friday. He got a lump on his back foot, and it wouldn't go down with the meds, so they did surgery Friday, and he has another week in this cone.
Oh,
Which
which
is
is
a
a shame.
Yes. Oh my God, what a pain. I have to hand feed him, and I have to guide him into the water bowl, and he fights me every step of the way.
Yeah, that's a pain.
You know,
Oh,
I had arthroscopic knee surgery on my right knee one year, and at the same time, I had a dog, a larger dog, that had to wear a cone because of some surgery that he'd had, and he kept hitting me in my knee.
Oh.
Cone. I'll never forget that darn cone.
yeah,
So-
he's so funny. He's not used to it, and it goes way out, and so he's running into the walls, he's running into the furniture, and he goes boink, and he backs up, and it's awful.
Yeah.
He runs into me.
How
like
much
he's-
longer does he have to wear it?
Another week. So it'll be almost
Yeah.
2 weeks when they
Wow.
have it on.
Yeah.
But he's got a smaller cone. He doesn't have a great big thing. It's-
It still goes past his nose. It still
Yeah.
goes out past his nose. And he's a sniffer, and he's trying to run it along like the floor, trying to sniff.
And it gets
And-
caught.
We have
Yeah.
tiles, and it kind of gets caught in the grout, and he's walking along, goes, "Woo," and he picks it up and goes along again. Oh, he's a mess.
Well, he'll learn how to do it.
That's what we've been saying, and he hasn't picked it up yet.
Joanne, she used the Facebook page really well this last time because she put in her finished block, right? And somebody, I don't know who it was, pointed out that there was one of the flying geese that was upside
Oh,
down.
yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't know if you would have even noticed that, Joanne.
I wouldn't have. I did know something was wrong, but I kept turning it around and trying to find it, and I couldn't figure it out what was wrong. So thank God. I think it was Irene said, "Oh, your flying grease is wrong." She goes, "Don't bother fixing it." I'm like, "No, because it's driving me nuts. Something's
Yeah,
wrong."
that would have driven me crazy too.
Yeah, it was. I just couldn't find it.
And that's so good. I had that patriotic one, that one that I said I was playing, and I posted that one. You know how many times I had to pull that apart because I had my flying geese backwards, and I'd pull it apart, and wouldn't you know, sew it the same way wrong.
Oh,
Like, I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm gonna just throw it in the garbage if it happens again, because I'm not pulling it apart again.
well,
And
that's
it
how I,
was the one right in the middle, not the one at the edge, like yours was. Mine was right in the darn middle of the block. I had to pull the whole stupid thing apart.
Another
Oh,
Another thing that helps is if you take a picture on your phone with it, and
yes.
have somebody else look at it.
Well, the problem was that I had it laid out and I took the picture and it was all perfect. But
Well,
then
but
I
what
took
if
one
it was
piece at a
better?
time to my sewing machine, sewed it incorrectly, brought it back and kept sewing, not noticing that I had that mistake there.
I did the same thing with mine that were, and had them going in the wrong direction, that striped fabric. And when
Oh,
it's in,
yeah.
when it's in the flying geese, it's like, it sticks out so much in the middle of the
Yes.
everything else. And I just kept sewing. I have pictures.
Yeah.
They look great.
Yeah.
And I still sewed it together wrong.
Same here, Helen. That's exactly what I did.
Okay, well, today we're going to talk about the bear paw block. And if you think you've had some issues with sewing your flying geese together, there are no flying geese in these, so you can get fishing.
But there's an awful lot of points on this one.
Yes, there are.
We've got a lot of half square triangles. And the issue that I have with my half square triangles, when I go to sew them, I often sew them in incorrectly. So what my suggestion, well, I've got a couple of suggestions on the way. I will show my little PowerPoint, and then we will have at it and see whether or not I can give you a few tips that will make it easier. So I'm gonna share my screen. And, okay, come on. Oops, the daisy, there we go. There's my first one. You see it okay, everybody?
Yeah,
That's pretty.
beautiful.
Well,
Oh,
I gotta tell you, when I did this PowerPoint, it was really very boring. So I raised it up a little bit and I had a good time, but I figured, come on, we're starting off on the beginning of the new year, so we might as well get a little bit daring. So today I want to introduce
no.
the Bear Paws block and talk about it a little bit. Then we're going to take the pattern apart, talk about cutting and some sewing tips. And then I got a few extras in here just to make you smile before we start sewing. So often bear paw quilts have a story to tell. Traditionally, your bear paw patterns have a sashing strip north and south and east to west. But when you look at the grid, if you count the grids on those three bear paws on the left-hand side, you'll see that you get 7 squares. If you start counting like on the top right-hand corner and you count down, you've got 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you look at the one on the right, you have a grid that you count 9 squares. And so you discover that when you make these blocks, traditionally they're bigger than 12 inches. It's really hard to do a 12-inch square. I can send you a pattern for this kind of block in a 12-inch square, but you can't cut it on the rotary cutter unless you've got maybe special dies. You would pretty much want to do it. I mean, you can't cut it on the AccuQuilt, but you could cut it with a rotary cutter, and it's
Okay.
fussier. You have to use templates. Okay. So here are pictures of more traditional bear paws, and you'll notice that on these, the way they did them, the 4 squares are all the same fabrics. But I'm going to give you a bear paws variation because I want it to be a 12-inch finished block. And while the half square triangles can be a little bit of a challenge, it's still a nice looking pattern to put into a quilt. And here are my two, daisy computers. Ugh. My sample block on the right seems more flat, like it's one-dimensional. But then in the one on the left, my better block, I changed the fabric that I put into the squares and rectangles on the inside corners. And it gives that block a little more depth. So, you know, that's a decision you would want to make. You can do it either way. You can do it anyway. You know that from previous classes. So now let's dissect the pattern. When you look at the pattern and you make a list, this is what you should see. You've got 8 background squares. You might think you've only got 4 background squares, but if you put the background also, like I did in my more one-dimensional one, if you put the background, let it come up into the center of the square, there are 4 squares there as well. And then there are 2 blue squares, 2 pink squares. We've got 2 background rectangles, 2 pink rectangles, 8 pink triangles, 8 blue triangles, and 16 background triangles. Now, that's just looking at the picture. But it will change up then when you translate it to cutting. Now, the AccuQuilt cutters, I want you to remember that this is not the 6-inch cube. You are using the 8-inch cube. And you're using dies 2, 8, and 5 and cutting them just as it says there on the right-hand side. rotary cutters, you're cutting your background squares will be 2.5 inches, as well as the blue
Oh,
ones. Your rectangles are 2.5 by 4.5. Your pink rectangles are also 2.5 by 4.5. And then when you get to the triangles and you're going to make your half square triangles, if I'm right, you're going to use like 4 pink squares, 4 blue squares, and 8 background squares. Now, I am suggesting, as I have in the box there by the star, that you get a little daring and see how it works if you use a 3-inch square this time instead of 3.5. Because in the past, I taught you to do a 3.5, cut from a 3.5-inch strip. And if you want to try it with a scrap, with a 3-inch square, and see when you downsize it, if it comes out, nice and flat, because you want it to come out nice and flat. So as you get more advanced, you can get a little more daring, ladies, and see if you can try it with 3 inches. Okay. So now let's look at the layout. When I lay mine out so that I get the points correct, one of the things I use as a checking point is whether or not those half square triangles create a V in between 2 bear paws, because basically you've got 4 bear paws in this. And you want the bear paws, if you can get one of them together correctly, and this is what I do, if I can get one of them that I know is right, then a lot of times when I go to sew my other ones together, I will lay those points on top of the one that I know is right, so that I have a way to double check myself. Now, when you start sewing things together, you might want to sew all your half square triangles and lay them on, sure. But then when you start sewing the block together, sew your inside square units together first. And I think I told you in the pattern that you will notice when you look at those inside squares that each one is different. You can't sew them all together assuming that they're the same, or you're going to have to rip them. So if you look at number 1, you've got, in this picture, you've got a white rectangle, and you've got a white square and a white blue square laying there underneath. But when you do the pink one, your colors are different, of course. It's the same style, but the colors are different. The other ones are the same styles, but the colors go in a different place. So you see what I'm talking about? You've got to make sure that you've got them made correctly for the block that you're making, for the corner. Nobody ever told me that. I have to figure these things out. And then after I rip them apart, then I make sure that you understand. So then you're going to sew a square. You're going to sew a bear paw together. So in this instance, I would sew your 3 squares on the right-hand side together vertically, making sure they're correct. And the 2 on the bottom, sewing the 2 half square triangles together first, and then attach them to your inner corner. So if I lay it out on the left side, like so, when I sew it together, I am sewing my inside corner is sewed together into a square. And by the way, that measures 4.5 inches. You might want to make note of that. I don't know if I put that in the pattern. And then I sewed number 2, my 2 claws, I sewed to number 1, and then I sewed unit number 3 to 1 and 2. All right. And I believe that that should measure 6.5 inches when it's complete. So then you want to do all the other ones, lay them out correctly to the pattern, making sure that that inside corner is right. And then sew 2 bear paws together on one side and 2 on the other, and then sew the whole block together, and it comes out pretty well. Okay, so just double check for errors, okay? So lay them out, double check for errors. I don't know if you found any mistakes, but this is what I look at when I'm working on my PowerPoints. My dog Claire and my cat, they take turns getting in the chair next to me and watching what I'm doing. So, did you find any mistakes?
Yes. Wait, no, wait. Is the top right hand bear paw? Wait, is that incorrect?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, so do you see, let me see if my mouse will
Yeah,
work.
your half square triangles
square.
on the right side are
It's turned.
turned.
Mhm.
And this one.
Right.
So
Mhm.
what I did was I turned it around and sewed the square on the wrong end.
Oh.
In other words,
Ah,
I need to, in this instance, I needed to, wait a minute, where's my thing? Carol, there, oops, no, there it is, okay. I needed to rip this, I needed to take this unit, these units, and turn them around so that they were on, like, over here. You see?
yes.
And then sew that unit together again. Yep. So you see, I have it happen too, ladies. Look at this one. I made this polar bear
Oh.
and
Wow.
made it as a sample for the store with the bear paw on the top and the bottom. And do you know that we had that quilt hanging up in the store for 2 years off and on?
Wow.
Never saw the mistake.
Green one.
Yeah, at the
bottom.
bottom.
Wow.
You see it on the bottom?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's because I sewed the claws on incorrectly and I never noticed it. The ladies, when I pointed it out to them one day, it was hanging up in East Aurora, up high, you know, where they hang it up over the fabric. And I said, oh my gosh, there's a mistake in that quilt. And they said, no, it's fine. And so I pointed it out to them and they said, oh, well, we just thought that was in the pattern. I said, okay, okay. So you gotta watch your paws. Because it'll surprise you every time. And look at those bear paws.
Oh, look at those bear
Wow.
paws.
Wow.
You know how we hate to rip. Yeah, I told you we'd have some fun on the end of it. Anyway, leave your mark included in a quilt that someone will cherish forever and ever.
Amen.
I want to tell you there's a book called Selena and the Bear Paw Quilt that is written by Barbara Smucker, and the illustrations are beautiful.
Aw.
And on the flap of the book, it says, when the Civil War breaks out, Selena's family must face their own personal conflict. Since their Mennonite religion forbids them to bear arms and go to war, they decide to flee their peaceful Pennsylvania farm for a new life in Canada, free of religious persecution. So it's about how they make this quilt with fabrics in it from different ones of Grandma's dresses so that they remember Grandma.
Aw.
And
Aw.
the family moves to Canada, but Grandma does not. And they take this treasured quilt with them. It's a beautiful story. So, till next week, you'll find me hanging out with my sewing machine or making my mark on the Aurora Center Block of the Month Facebook page. And you will find lots of things that you can do with bear paws and make them in lots of different sizes. And so that's all, folks. Yeah.
I see the end.
That's cute.
That was cute.
So that's my PowerPoint. See, I made it more interesting than you thought.
That was great.
Otherwise, it was just kind of like the pattern, you know, and it's like, oh, no, different, so.
That's great.
questions. Have any of you cut it out yet?
Yes.
I did.
Mhm.
Oh, you're all
Not
good.
hard to cut it out, was it?
No,
Any of you that are doing the rotary cutting, did you, are you gonna try the 3-inch square or the 3.5?
I would have, but I did the 3.5 because that's what was on my sheet.
Okay,
I'll
Right.
try it next time.
yeah, I couldn't remember whether I put 3.5 or 3 on the sheet, but, yeah, after a while, when you get a little more daring, you know, try it with a scrap piece and see if you're ready to try a smaller one.
Okay.
The telltale answer for you is whether or not when you get it made and you cut it to 2.5, that it will lay flat for you. And if it doesn't, then just keep doing it with 3.5. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
So anybody have any problems with it? Did you lay it out?
Yep.
Yeah, I did. And laying it out, it looks, you know, it looks perfect. Now, if I could only take it to my sewing machine and bring it back and lay it out correctly again.
Oh,
Look at
Diane.
her. Oh, that's,
I'm finished.
wow.
You are just the overachiever.
No, I sewed it yesterday. I finished my bills, all my bills and Sabre stuff, so
Yeah,
it was,
those were
I think
great.
it was the easiest one.
it was.
Well, one of the reasons I've given you an easy block,
Hi.
you work so hard.
Atta girl, turn it around. Oh, that is the front. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yep,
Oh, pretty.
that's
I
pretty.
can't see
Very
it.
pretty.
Wait.
Pretty, pretty, pretty.
Well, now see, you have something to do.
I didn't see it.
How pretty.
Oh, nice.
You gotta talk, Robin. Keep talking.
I like that
I'm sorry.
multicolored fabric.
Yeah, that's fine.
Whenever
That's
you show
nice.
something, you've got to do a little speech with it, because otherwise anybody who speaks will be seen on the screen.
Ah, okay.
Diane, put yours up again so we can see it again.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty.
Oh, that,
That's very pretty.
Thank
where
you.
is it?
You gotta
I
talk.
changed the
Well,
center
where is it?
fabric like she
Oh,
did
yeah.
on her one.
Mhm.
Oh, that's pretty.
And I think, and I have my blue one cut out, and I was just playing around with that center section that Eileen said, like, looks like it's woven. So John and I were playing with different fabrics this morning, and we consolidated on one. So it's laying out there. I'm going to sew that one today.
Good, good.
So you got a helper.
He's my second set of eyes. And I cut out for the blue one, I got, my blue those, the winter fabrics. I cut those out, and let me see if I can reach it. I tried three different kinds of centers. And this is the one that he picked. See the silver swirl?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I had a real subtle, like a white with swirls with silver and blue in it. But when you backed up and looked at it, it blended in. You didn't notice it. So
Yeah.
I did a white fabric with silver dots, and he didn't like that one either. So then I did this one, I have a little fat quarter of, and I have enough in
very
that
pretty
corner for the
material.
December blocks.
Okay.
Very good. Well, just so you know, next week's block I'm going to give you will be with a 6-inch square.
Okay.
Okay.
Rotary cutting, there will be more small pieces, like in December. But it will show you the difference in how you can do it with a little bit larger square and get one like we got this week, or you can work just a little harder and end up with one that looks a little more sophisticated.
Oh.
You know, I'll try to give you I don't know what I'm gonna give you for the bonus block yet. I'm hemming and hawing between several ones that I like, so.
I was thinking of trying this one with my Christmas fabric, since I need more blocks for the Christmas quilt, and doing each paw a different color, like the traditional ones. I may try that if I have time, but I don't know. But I really like this one. I think it's really pretty.
Now,
Mhm.
and as you saw in my PowerPoint,
Uh-huh.
sometimes instead of putting a solid square in there, they'll put a 9 patch. No,
Mhm.
4 patch or a 9 patch, depending on how sophisticated you want to get. Yeah, but if you're showcasing certain fabrics, then, yeah. And sometimes they'll put a different fabric in each square. So you can make it as interesting as you want to make it. Yeah, I like the bear paw square.
I
I
do.
think it's kind of cool. So now, Robin, are you going to have anything to sew?
Are you kidding? All those extra ones you've got me trying to catch up? Yes, I got stuff to sew.
I still have to send you September, right?
Yes.
Those are,
Yeah, I've got one more November and then I'll start October.
I still want to do those September patterns over because I learned a lot about writing my pattern for these wonderful. And so I think I'm going to go back and.
That's one of the questions I wanted to ask you. What computer program do you use to make these patterns so good? With the arrows and the circles, what kind of a computer pattern is that, or a program?
Well, when I put the dots and the arrows and everything in, I put the patterns together on Publisher, and then I just print them into a PDF.
Yeah, okay, Publisher, yeah, that makes sense.
I used Publisher a lot when I was at school. And so I learned about, using a lot. And you can pull pictures into there from your computer, but you can also pull like those bear pictures. You can pull them in off the internet. There's a whole resource out there. So it makes things kind of fun, I think it does. I like
No,
that.
that's why I looked at it and said, wow, those are really classy directions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I love this part. Putting the fabric in there.
Yeah.
Oh, I do too.
That's my
yeah.
favorite part.
It really
Yes.
helps, doesn't it?
Yes.
Well, that's good. I almost made that page into a half a page because I had only 3. And then I thought, no, I think I need to leave it. Just have it be a single page.
Yeah.
I have a question for Carol, and that is it still helping to give you just a black and white
Oh, yes, yes.
drawing at the end?
Yeah, because I use my colored pencils to try different colors out with it.
Okay.
And I also helps me see distinctly the shapes.
Okay.
My eye isn't distorted by the color.
Okay.
So I do like to have that black and white print. I
Good.
use that.
Good. That's a good idea. I didn't think about coloring them in. You could make yourself a nice coloring book of the patterns.
Yeah,
Is it too
if I lightly color it, it really gives me an idea of what the shape is that I'm trying to get to.
Good. Well, good. I just want to make sure it's still helpful because sometimes when I look at the black and white, I think, oh my, I just need to look at the color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think I would use the black and white, but I have ended up now using it where I will write in my color, my fabric, however I describe it, like, the green, the red, or the leaf pattern. And so I fill in every block so I know what I'm putting where. I don't color it in, but I write in the fabric that I'm going to use.
Yeah.
And I didn't think I'd use it, but I do. I use it every time now.
And what I don't know about other people's methodology, but the first thing that I do every time is I put my backgrounds down. I cut those and put those in place first. Does everybody else do that too?
That's what I do.
That's how
Yeah,
I do.
because to me, that's the starting point. You put your backgrounds down and then you figure out the next step and I build it that way.
Yeah, that's how I do it.
And then after I had the whole thing laid out, that's when I started to play with those other pieces, the weavy pieces.
Well, actually, what I do is I pull out of my little pile of fabrics, I pull out the fabrics I want to use. And then because I keep trying to add some new fabrics in.
Yeah.
So that this, but I want to make in each month, I want to somehow or another make sure that those fabrics are in those 3 blocks. So I know that I've got those fabrics. And if for example, I'm using that red color in my sample blocks, then I decide when I look at it, where do I want that red? And then I build the rest of the block. It's like, if it's too much, then I pull it out and say, nope, I can't put it there. I've got to put it here, you know?
But do you still do your background first?
No, I do my background last.
You
Yep.
do?
Yep. I always do my background last. I start at the center of the block and I build out.
That's the way I do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like in this one that we're doing now, you know, I knew I wanted to use those 3 colors. So yes, I knew what my background was going to be. Okay. And I knew I was going to use those other 2 colors. So it was easy. I knew, but then I had to decide whether I was going to try and put the gray on top of the black or the black on top of the gray. And I decided to put the black on top of the gray. And then in the other one, I had certain fabrics that I was working with. And I knew that I wanted to make that woven square pop a little bit. So that right away, I knew where I was going to put those. And I knew what background I needed to use according to the previous blocks I'd done. And so then I had my blue and my red. And so it just went together easy. I didn't have a lot of decisions to make. This was an easy block.
I found it to be easy too, and I think the reason is because there were only 3 fabrics to work with.
Right.
You know that.
Right.
Well, I'm still struggling with which fabrics and which colorway I want to go with, because I'm again trying to work from what I have on hand.
Right.
So I not always do I get this great fabric that I like for the predominant in it, but I don't always have things to go with. So then I have to make other choices. So I'm in and out of choices all the time.
Well, I've got a lot of fat quarters and that one gold, this one is a fat quarter. So I know that I have enough of it to squeeze through probably January's 3 blocks and with a little left over. So at least I have some of that fabric going through it. And I've done that a couple of times in the other blocks for the other months, and it seems to work out. But when I get desperate, I go rummaging through everything to try to find something that matches. I haven't bought any fabric yet, except for the polka dotted background for the Christmas ones, because that holly fabric I ran out of. So I'm working on that.
Another thing I'll tell you about Christmas fabric is that I have been given permission to raid the basement in East Aurora for Christmas fabrics for anybody who is working on Christmas blocks. So if you are needing something, I can take pictures of what fabric is there and you can let me know, and then we'll
Okay.
cut it for you.
Oh,
Anyway,
that's good. Thank you.
the other thing I want to show you is, now I just folded this in half, but do you see the V I'm talking about here in the middle?
Yes.
Okay. The other thing is, I want you to notice that, now wait a minute, I got to put this in front of the camera, that on each end, and this helps me, that you want to make sure that these blocks are sitting upright against the square.
Pointing.
You get like a propeller on the corner. If you use that as a way of thinking, you've got the V here and the propeller here, it will help you make sure those points are pointed in the right direction,
Okay,
okay? Because
yeah, that
this-
makes sense.
this one will be correct if you think about the V, and this
Right.
will be correct if you think about your propeller. Okay, I call it a propeller. Well, okay. Yeah, then everything falls into place. And again, if you can make one paw and make sure it's correct, then as you sew the other ones, as long as you're aware that that inner corner, inner square is different, when you sew on your claws, you can lay it on top of the one that you know it's right, and it will check you. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
And then when you know you've got it right, lay it aside and then do another one and then lay it on the one you know that's right, and you'll end up with 4 that you shouldn't have to rip together or rip.
Any luck?
Of course, I had to rip mine, but maybe you won't have to rip yours.
So that middle section looks like a flying geese, so,
But there are no flying geese in it.
no, but that, where it does that V,
Right, yeah.
Oh, yes, yes,
Yeah.
it does look like a flying geese, yeah.
Yeah. So when are you going to do that Christmas fabric? You're going to put it on Facebook to our group?
I took a picture, my sister is making a Christmas one, you know, you've seen her blog.
oh, it's beautiful.
And she has asked about that too. And she said, let me know about Christmas fabric. So there is one rack of Christmas fabrics here in the Williamsville store that's left. And I have a picture in my phone. I can send you that picture. But in order to find out about what's in East Aurora in their inventory, I will have to drive out there. Probably I could go on Saturday if you need it and take pictures of what they've got in the leftover in the inventory.
Okay.
Tell me what you want. Yeah,
Okay. So will you send me that picture?
I will send you that one. In fact, I'll do it right now while you start to sew. And yeah, yes, I will.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, how do I go, if I find something I want, how do I go about buying it? Just call the store?
You can call the store, but if
Let you know.
you're going to do it, yes, off of this picture, you can call the store. If you are going to do it later from the inventory, then you'll have to, I'll just have to pick out the bolts that you want and take them up, you know, and you can tell me what you need of each one. And then we'll just have to get in touch with you. I'll tell you to call and then you can set it up.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
We'll work it out because I
All
know
right.
you've got Christmas fabrics, and if you run short on something or you want to add something else, then at least we have access to that.
Right. Well, I have a Christmas stocking to make because I've got a grandson who's going to be born on April 7th. And he has to have a Christmas stocking.
Okay.
I'm changing the subject. I like that quilt behind you. Did you make
Yes.
I
that?
love
And
that.
that's
quilt
paper
behind.
pieced? Is that paper pieced?
No, it is not.
It's not.
In fact, look at it this way.
Yep.
Oh,
That's why it looks paper pieced that way.
Nope, it's just the same block. Every
Yeah.
block is exactly the same, but you're cutting them out of that umber color fabrics with different shades.
Oh,
Oh.
Yeah.
I
So
love that block. I love that quilt.
Mhm.
I do too.
So that's one of yours, Eileen, right?
yeah, it goes
I
from
figured it was.
dark down to light.
that's
Oh,
something to
that
do.
is so pretty.
I never know what you could do with that fabric when it comes up on the virtual shopping. I don't bid on it because I can't think of anything to do with,
Well, if you want the name of the pattern, it's called Ombre, O-M-B-R-E, Weave, W-E-A-V-E. And it's, we carry the pattern at the store.
I might have it.
And I'll tell you what, this fabric here has like gold dots on the fabric. We don't have this fabric anymore, but the fabric that we have, I like better. It's got little flowers on it.
Oh,
In fact, let me go get a bolt and I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Okay.
yeah, that is a very, very pretty quilt.
It is.
Yeah.
beautiful. Can
That's
I
why
ask
I
you
couldn't, I
ladies-
couldn't resist. I had to ask.
Can I
Yeah.
ask you ladies who have a cutter question? Because I just got mine and I've just got it for Christmas. I've had a couple of times where the little threads get caught in there and I've pulled them out. But I know that it comes with that
That little tool.
that little tool. Do you use that every time that you cut? Do you clean it out or do you
No.
just?
No,
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 no, on
Just-
occasion.
Okay,
Actually, Robin, you use it if you start getting threads. If you see threads getting caught in your dye,
uh-huh.
then use it. Yeah.
But you don't clean out the dyes in any way. You just let them do their own thing.
I just leave them alone and then I take that periodically and I go down the channel
Uh-huh.
in the dye and get the threads out. Or if I find that something isn't cutting well, then I'll go in and make sure it's not threads that are in there. This is,
Okay.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
let me, can you see?
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yes,
They're like little flowers, but
yeah,
it goes from dark up to light,
Mhm.
Oh.
every color of the rainbow.
Oh, that's pretty.
Beautiful.
Now, let me tell you that when I made this one, the colors were in a jelly roll and it took one jelly roll.
Really?
Oh,
wow.
If you wanted to make it bigger than this quilt, now this quilt is, what, it's about a lap size. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wanted to make it bigger, then you just need to add jelly rolls, cut more 2.5 inch squares,
Hmm.
I mean triangles. So,
that is pretty.
yeah. Well, they took everything down from Sewing Club the other day and it was a bare wall. And I said to Alyssa, come on, give me a quilt. 'Cause this is really bad. Well, she grabbed that one and put it up there and I said, well, I bet I'll be able to sell that pattern.
Yeah,
Is that the whole quilt finished with just the little white border or is that just the top?
No, it's all finished.
Oh, it is. Okay.
And I didn't quilt it fancy. I just stitched
In the
It-
ditch.
in the ditch, yeah. Yeah. Because I didn't think it needed to be,
No, it's got
No.
so much design in it.
we put a lot of quilting on that. It would have been a little too much. Yeah.
I have a question about storing patterns. You know, we buy a lot of these patterns and they're, you know, 8.5 by 11 each folded sheets, you know, so they're 5 by whatever. How does everybody take care of those things? Because, you know, I've been on this clean out the sewing room thing.
oh.
Get
Would you like to come
organized.
here?
Get organized. Oh, it's driving me crazy.
I put mine in Ziploc bags.
That's
Then
what I
what do-
use.
Then what do you do with
Yeah.
the Ziploc bags?
I just do Ziploc bags.
These are big patterns.
I put
They are
mine,
the full size.
I just put mine in the, like these plastic folders in a
That's
binder.
what I got them in.
Oh, that's
Oh,
nice.
wow.
Okay, but do you organize them by designer or by theme or what?
I just have mine like by quilt or table runner or, you know, edge to edge quilting. I have some edge to edge quilting stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a ton. I'm like new to this. So that's probably my full extent of everything I have.
Carol,
I bought those little cabinets that you can buy in Walmart that are like the tall cabinets with the 3 drawers. Like this.
Oh, yeah.
Which ones I'm talking about?
Plastic.
Yes.
A
Yeah.
pattern
Plastic drawer.
fits in here sideways perfectly.
Oh, nice. You know what I have trouble storing is, Eileen, you told us to keep all the instructions from our rulers, like all the,
Yes.
they're so big, some of them, they don't fit in anything.
Well, I'll tell you what I've got that I put those in and some of my patterns. When you go to in fact, I use them in my refrigerator and I use them in my my bathroom closet, and they are narrow, kind of that deep, but they're rectangular and they've got a little handle on the front end. Have you seen those?
Mhm.
Oh, no.
And
Yeah.
I have several of those, and I keep those creative grid ones, I stick those
Yeah.
in that. And I have all my edge to edge patterns in one of those so I can access them easily. I leave my patterns in the plastic then, but it's nice because I have those 9-hole cubby things that I'm dealing with.
Oh, yeah.
And slide that in there, and then when I want it, I can just easily pull it out and I know it's patterns.
And yeah, and this is why I love these racks from Walmart, because they're only like $11. And
Oh.
all of the half size patterns fit in there all the way down the side. See, I got a bunch in there, but I have a cabinet upstairs, one of these $10, $11 little thingies, and it's just got all my patterns in it. But those are ones that I haven't done yet. That's why they're down here.
Well, another thing that works for patterns is, you know how I like to use those plastic cases, the narrow ones, to put my stuff in. I have bought a couple of them that are the deeper ones. And I have put some, like a divider down the middle, and I put patterns in there as well.
Oh.
That if I don't want to take up a shelf, because I've got so much stuff.
Yeah.
I've got so many classes.
Me too.
And so I've got these little bins in there with, this is the log cabin class. And so when I need to teach it, I can just pull that out and go, you know. But if I put some of my patterns in those deeper plastic containers with a handle, I can close it and I can set it up on its side someplace, and it's not taking up a shelf.
Oh. Yeah.
So I don't know, I find it's really helpful to put my patterns there.
Yeah.
If you put your patterns in a notebook, Carol, what I would do is have a piece of paper, blank paper in the front of it that you slide into a sleeve. And every time you add another pattern, write the name of that pattern on that sheet so you know what patterns are in that notebook.
In that notebook, yeah. Like I got all my GE designs all in one notebook. And now I've got this notebook that we're creating with the block of the month patterns. But I still have totes with all these other miscellaneous patterns. Some of them have little templates with them, you know. So
yeah, and those are the ones that I put in those little white things, those narrow white things, and I use those white containers with a handle on it. I mean, it's a funny little handle that comes out. It's not an ordinary handle. I wish I had a picture to show you, but I use those in my refrigerator, and I put small things in them like horseradish and my lemon thing that I don't want to put it in a shelf, or I have one in my refrigerator that's all salad dressing. But it's great. I can just reach in, grab that handle and pull it out, and there's all our salad dressing, and it's not falling all over on the shelves.
yeah.
Doors.
Okay, because I'm trying to get rid of some of my plastic boxes, plastic totes, that kind of thing, because showing them around and lifting and lugging on them and one thing and another gets to be more of a challenge every day for me.
Right. You have big totes? Are they those big ones?
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Some of them are pretty good size.
I have not succumbed to that.
I used to have all of my fabrics in the under the bed totes with the wheels. And I had them stacked like 6 and 8 high in my one closet. And I used to have to get John to get, like, if I wanted the black and whites, they were always on the bottom tote. So we had to empty the whole closet to get those. So I had foot surgery 2 years ago. I think Eileen, maybe you remember this. And I went before the foot surgery to Walmart and I bought 12 of these things for $11 a piece, these 3 drawer things. I
Mhm.
spent like $110 and I put all the totes on the floor in the bedroom. I had the bandages on my foot and I dumped one tote at a time and I pulled one shelf out. And when I pulled the shelf out, the little drawer out, all the fat quarters fit
Oh, that's
all the way
nice.
in it. And I've done that down here too, just to give you an idea. But this is what I ended up doing. Okay, these totes, they hold the fat quarters all the way in. These are whites and blacks and beiges. But what's nice is you can pull that drawer out and I can stack it. I can stand it up this way and I can see that I got room for one more fat quarter. There's always room. But that's what I ended up doing in my closet. And I ended up having, like, I got one drawer of reds, one drawer of pinks, one drawer of yellows, 40 years of fabric. But that's how I ended up organizing my stuff. But of course, down here is now overflow. So, but I've got, and I put fat quarters in here, but also bigger pieces. I've got a lot of whites in here. But I found that if you want to organize and you don't want to have heavy stuff because I can't lift anymore, this is the best I can lift. And it's color coordinated and it's cheap. It's a cheap fix. For me, it was a cheap fix.
One of the things I learned about those drawers, though, is that if you set anything on top of that stack of drawers for very long, the bottom one begins to cave over time, and then you can't use it.
I missed that. I was putting it away. What'd you say?
Well, I had a stack of drawers that I put another stack of drawers on top of, and the one underneath gradually crushed over time.
I have mine 2 stacked high, so I have 6 drawers. I haven't had any problem. Not with the little ones.
The one that I had on the bottom was wider, and so the narrow one that I put on the top crushed it in the middle.
Yeah, well, the wider ones are, it's a wider shelf. And
Right.
I find, like, I have one of those over here, right down there. And the top, I have stuff stacked on top of it and it's crushed it. So I have a hard time getting the top drawer open.
Right,
But the
right.
little ones for me, I'll post a picture of my sewing closet if anybody's curious to see what I
Okay.
did. Because it was a really cheap fix. It was like $110. And I got all my fabrics. I got rid of all those under the bed containers and I don't have to lift anymore. So when I go upstairs, let me see if I got it. I don't know if I have a picture on my phone anymore. But for me, it worked. And I was trying to go cheap and I was trying to go simple. So
Yeah, cheap and simple works
cheap
for
is
me
good.
too.
Cheap is good. And I'll tell you, I used to have to drive John crazy. I always was like, John, you got to help me. And we emptied up the whole closet in order to get those containers out of there. So let me just take a minute and look and see if I can find that.
Well, you can post it on our Facebook page too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That-
that's right. In fact, that would be interesting for you to post some of your organizational
Yeah, put it on the Facebook page.
on the Facebook page. I'll do the same thing.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
I might have to post the before on the Facebook page and say, what would you do to fix this?
That's great, Helen.
Well, you can do that too.
I found it. I'll post it right now.
Okay.
okay.
I keep thinking that I should go through everything and really organize it. And then I think, well, I'll just let somebody else worry about it when I die.
My
No,
husband
I don't
would
want to
kill me.
spend my precious time cleaning and organizing when I could be sewing.
Right.
You know, that's the thing.
Well, that's,
My
that
kids,
said, I took,
my revenge. I'm gonna put all my money in fabric and they have to decide what to do with it when I'm done.
that's it. I took a break because I couldn't stand working in this overcrowded space.
Yeah.
And I knew I needed to do it anyhow. So I have found stuff that I knew I had somewhere, but you know, it's been good finds. But I need to know how to, but take care of it, because like I've pulled things all out and put it out in the lanai, and I got to bring it out of the lanai and back into this room somewhere. So that's what I've been struggling with. So, and then it was like last night I pulled up the new blocks, and it was like, oh, I can't even think what color to do. You know, it was just like, seemed so long since I've actually worked on a block. So now I've got to get myself together here.
You had enough of a vacation, Carol.
Yeah, that was a wonderful vacation,
I
sure.
rattle your cage. And Jean Scarletta there, she had her daughters with her for a whole month, didn't you? Your daughter?
He's still here.
Is she still there?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's
We
great.
did a big overhaul in the basement.
Wow.
Took out all the rugs, little, meandering rugs around, and we put down those puzzle foam bottoms. Oh, what a blessing. So she's helping me get a lot of that, purging. Take stuff out that you don't need. You take it to your house or the Goodwill or something. So we've been working really hard on it, and it's great. She'll be here till the end of the month.
Awesome.
Terrific, yeah.
Well, my theory each year is that if we haven't used something in the last year, it's gonna go.
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah.
idea.
We haven't
Clothes and everything.
no need for it, then it's just gonna go. And we start making trips to Goodwill.
I could never do that. Get rid of good material that just for a year, maybe after 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about material. I'm even talking about, stuff in the house. It's like,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
if I haven't worn something in that year before,
Oh,
for it to go, or I'm gonna cut it up and I'm gonna use the fabric in it, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But, oh yeah, and
It's been wonderful. It's been great,
Yep. And then with my fabric, I periodically go through my fabric, and quite honestly, I pull out stuff that I look at it and I think I'm never going to use it. I don't like it. I always, I glaze over it. I'm going to put it in a bag, and I do.
Yeah.
That's when I start getting rid of the fabric. Or I pull out fat quarters from Joann's that I'm never going to use.
Mm-hmm.
Because it just isn't the kind of fabric that I want anymore.
What do you do with
thank
it?
you for the picture.
Yeah,
You got it?
I got the picture of the material.
Yeah.
Oh,
I have
material.
an idea for your leftover fabric that you don't want, that you're gonna throw out or get rid of. If you cut it in strips and then take like an old pillowcase and put it in there and flatten it out, and then just do an X across the pillowcase and sew up the end. The animal shelters use those for the bottoms of the cages. We're doing it with our 4-H kids. So I save like all my scraps from cutting out pieces and stuff, and just take an old pillowcase or even an old piece of old piece of sheet that you can make into a rectangle, and just lightly, you don't have to put a ton of it in there, just enough to make a pad like, and then just sew it X across so that it doesn't bunch all down, and sew the end shut. Super simple.
I used to do that, Robin, until my dogs learned that it was a lot of fun to rip it apart and, and pull that fabric all over the place.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
In the animal shelters, they have to take care of it.
I posted one of the pictures of one side. The other one, it was a video. So I just posted one picture.
I got it.
Look on
That's
Facebook.
great.
okay.
Yeah, that's a great organizational tool.
Did you
Yeah.
see it?
I'll be looking at it later, because
Yeah, well, that's the one end of it. The shelves go all the way down to the other side of the closet, but that's a video, and I tried to post that where I just panned it And it, it didn't take to Facebook.
Hmm.
I think it was too big.
Yeah.
Where
Well,
did,
I had the
Oh,
same
no,
thing.
well, I
I
think, wait a minute.
inherited.
No, it's on there. No, I just
Okay.
found it. No,
Okay.
holy,
it's on there.
that's like a store.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
Oh my-
Yes.
You have a
Yeah.
ton of stuff.
But that was the cheapest way I could come up with it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It worked. That's 40
Yeah,
years of
that's
fabric.
great. Wow, that's a lot of fabric.
I
Well,
dig in it all the time.
Yeah, I bet. I inherited a whole sewing room from a friend of mine that passed away. Her husband called me and said, "Would you like to come over and pick out some fabric, from Dottie's room?" And I'm like, "Oh, yes, please." So when I got there, he's like, "Jean, I would really love it if you took all of it." And she had floor to ceiling shelving around all 4 walls full of fabric. So it took probably 20 totes. So I brought it all home, separated it by color, and now I'm realizing I'm never in a lifetime going to use this. So I just, after the week after Christmas, I devoted to just organizing my fabric. So I have several totes of like holiday fabric, a tote full of Christmas fabric, a tote full of whatever, 4th of July, Easter. And then all the rest of it I color coded, and I filled 4 bins full of fabric that I know I will never ever use, that I just either don't like it or it's not the right, it's too thick or too thin or not
Yeah.
cotton or whatever. And I just filled it, and now I'm blessing other quilters with it by calling. I have several friends, come on over and take whatever you want. So they're coming over one at a time and just taking whatever they want out of those bins.
They're shopping.
Yeah, and I'm down to 2 large bins left, and I have 2 more friends to come over and help themselves, and then I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest. So
that's a good idea.
I got a whole bunch of stuff from my friend Elizabeth Binner, who used to be very active with Barb when she was alive, and when Betty had a brain tumor and she had to have surgery, and when she was finished with all that, she was fine. Wasn't cancer, it was just a tumor, but she lost, wherever they took the tumor out, she lost whatever incentive she had for quilting. So she called me up and she said, "Come and get everything." Same thing.
yeah.
And she even tried to give me her Bernina.
Oh.
And I told her, I said, "No," I says, "that's for your family." But when I got there, she had container after container, a cardboard box. She was into thimbleberries.
Oh, I love
And she had
thimbleberries.
every single thimbleberry pattern, block of the month, everything. She did it all with Barb and all the fabrics. And
Wow.
I'm not a thimbleberry kind of person. I went for the beiges and some of the golds and stuff and the burgundies, but I ended up, I found a group through the Threads of Time before, when they were still open. They did charity quilts. And every Friday, these ladies got together and they sewed charity quilts. And I went there one day and dumped off, oh my gosh, 20 legal, the legal size boxes with the lids, at
Yeah.
least 20 of those full of thimbleberry fabrics.
Wow.
Wow.
And they went berserk, and they
I bet.
were making quilts for charity forever.
Yeah, see, that's what you
forever.
gotta find
Homeless
is someone
quilts,
that does
children's
that.
quilts, everything. So I hear you. And the reason why I did that is because I didn't want my husband and son someday to have to mess around with my disaster in that closet. And I figured for like $120, $10, whatever those dumb containers cost, it saved me. And I got rid of those under the bed containers. So now that's his office in there, but I designed that closet and I wanted it so I could put my quilting stuff in there, but it was getting crazy because the one end is where I had all the fabrics stacked in those bins. And so we went across the back with that. And now when he's working, I can just go in there and sneak in the closet and close the door and put the light on, and I can pull any of those drawers out and look for whatever color I want. So for me, that was the cheapest and the easiest way to do it. And the fat quarters fit in there. It's almost like the bins were made for the fat quarters.
Great.
I'll tell you what else I do as part of my storage. I've got some of those plastic drawers that I have 2.5-inch strips in. And when I buy fabric, if I'm gonna buy yardage, I always make sure that I'm getting enough of the yardage so I can cut 3 strips of 2.5-inch strips. And then I put them into my bins, color coded.
Oh,
I can't tell you how many times I've gone in there and grabbed those strips from different colors to make different patterns. Because with a 2.5-inch strip, I can always cut it down if I have to cut it down. Or I can cut it into squares, or I can cut it into rectangles like 2.5 by 4.5 or 6.5 or 8.5. I can put different fabrics together for scrappy binding, but the strips are already cut. And because they're color coded, I can just figure out what I need to pull. And I learned that from Gudrun. She does that.
Yes.
Anyway, so I've got lots of 2.5-inch strips, and I also have some that are 1.5-inch strips and some that are 2-inch strips. Because sometimes when you have scraps from a pattern, you'll end up with sizes that are 1.5. You can get a 1.5 or a 2-inch strip out of, or even 1 3/4. And if you cut it, then it's already cut for whatever you need. Just store it by the size. Anyway, so that I just put that out there. I do that, and that really helps me. And then instead of having bags of odds and ends of scraps, I sort those scraps out, and I have those in a little, in my 9-inch cubbies. I've got one that scraps yellow and one that scraps of blue and another that scraps of red. And if I'm paper piecing, or if I need a 2-inch square out of some sort of red or whatever, I can go to those scrap drawers and pull. I don't have to cut it into a new piece of fabric. I can use my scraps, and it's phenomenal. The other thing I love about that is when I get done sewing a project, whatever scraps I have, if they're small enough, I can put them into those bins that are color coded, and I don't have them laying all over my room.
Yeah.
You know, I put them aside because I think, well, maybe I'll use those, or they're too big to throw away. I don't want to throw them away. So now I put them in my color-coded scrap bins, and it has saved me so much. Especially when I do paper piecing, I can just pull my stuff right out of there. It's great.
now,
And now
speaking of paper piecing, and Eileen, I signed up for your February Starburst class.
Oh, you did?
Yes,
Oh,
I'm
good.
looking forward to it, and I ordered the book too.
Oh, good. The other thing,
Helen, have you ever done paper piecing?
I've done some. Usually I've done a couple of pieces in a workshop with the guild. I like it, but I'm not ready to start a whole project on my own from start to finish.
you know, of paper piecing, I'm going to ask you this question. I have found a block that's a very attractive block. But once there are 4 squares in the block that are paper pieced, would you be interested in trying that sometime?
As long as you're willing to teach us to paper piece, because I've never done it ever. So
Oh,
I don't
it's
even
fun.
know how to begin.
I was just gonna say the same thing, as long as you step by step it for us.
Yeah, it's a really pretty block, but you can't do it unless you do, you know how in this one we've got those inner squares. If you don't paper piece this particular part of the block, you can't really do it. And when I saw it, I thought, well, I'm trying to teach you a lot of different things, and it might be kind of fun
Yes.
Yeah,
to try that together.
I would
What
try
would
it.
You could do it.
What are
absolutely.
you calling it?
Pardon?
What are you calling the class, so we know?
Oh, it would be in the block of the month. I would,
Okay.
as part of the block of the month. I
Oh,
just
okay.
know how daring you are.
I'm
You're
very
a
daring.
daring group.
Yeah, I would be interested in that too, to enhance my paper piecing skills, which are very beginner.
After those stars in December, we can do anything.
Yes.
Well, I hope you say that after your block next month.
Oh,
Oh.
Oh,
Oh, that
Yeah,
doesn't
morning.
sound good. That sounds kind of ominous.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm giving you the block next month so that you have a couple weeks to work on it, because I think if you take your time, it will go together just fine. It's just that it's smaller pieces like last month, so.
Yeah.
I
Do you-
just ordered my 6-inch block yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah, they had a sale for 25% off.
good.
Good.
So
Is that
I
sale,
thought I could order it.
is that sale still going on?
No, it was just yesterday.
Oh,
Who
But-
had the sale?
AccuQuilt.
oh,
Everything was 25% off.
Oh, I missed that.
This is
Yeah, I got that advertisement on Facebook.
Yeah, she's on, I think it's Wednesdays.
I
They
babysat
show at
yesterday.
1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Wednesdays. And last week, I was so tempted. They had 20% off on that unit to put all your blocks in, your table.
oh,
Well, I was tempted, but I didn't do it.
Just remember, I'm going to say this again, when they have those sales, we honor them at the store. And if you can please order through the store,
Get the credit.
keep AccuQuilt here.
Yeah.
If you order from
Okay.
the site, then you've
You
got
can't,
shipping.
you can't order the ones with a code though.
No,
in the
not the
store.
ones with the code.
Yeah, the code was it was so 25 or something like that.
I'm gonna tell you that we're a little bit frustrated because the AccuQuilt company has the mentality of a big box store.
Right.
They don't have the mentality that they're trying to help the local smaller shops that are selling their products. And so instead of giving you all a code that you could shop online with and it would give a kickback to our store that would help our store, they refuse to do that.
Hmm.
So, our sales are way down because of the pandemic, because people are coming into the store so much.
Yeah.
To get people to remember that if they can please order through the store, that then you also have an advocate and you don't have to pay shipping.
Right.
I've never purchased online.
Yeah.
I always come to the
When I
store.
say an advocate, if you have something wrong with the die, we will give you the other die and then we deal with the company. You don't have to do that.
Ah.
If you order something incorrect on the website and you end up with a wrong die, like somebody ordered a studio die and they didn't know they ordered a studio die. The problem was, then you have to send it back to the company and pay the shipping and the insurance. And you never know if they're going to give you credit. I mean, it's a very long process.
Hmm.
So
I'm
I-
an advocate as much as I can. I don't buy online except certain things in Amazon. How we
Yeah.
couldn't find Lysol way back. But lo and behold, the Lysol kitchen spray,
mhm.
yeah.
nobody had it. And I'm like a Lysol kitchen spray person. And they had a 64-ounce gigantic jug of it on Amazon for $48, which I thought was outrageous, but we still are using it.
yeah.
So, there are certain things I'll buy on Amazon, but if I can not use online shopping, I will stick with the local businesses. That's just us.
I think during this pandemic, that's most important to
I do
stick
too.
with
I do
local.
too. I wanted to
Because
ask
there's
you,
so many
you had-
restaurants and places are smaller businesses, family-owned businesses are
Yeah.
having to close their doors because
and I wanted to ask you too, Jean, you got your shot, right?
I did.
How are you?
Great. I had my second,
Both? Did you have
Yep.
both?
yes. After the first one, I had none, no reaction at all, other than for maybe about 12 hours, my arm was sore. After my second one, I do have to tell you that I woke up. I got it at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and my husband and I were sitting and watching TV in the evening. And I said, was like maybe like 9:30, quarter to 10. And I said, you know what? I'm really getting a headache, like a bad headache. And I also got an overall feeling that brought back really bad memories of menopause when I had severe
Hot flashes.
hot flash, like from the, it felt like I was burning from the inside out. You know how those hot flashes are? I don't
Oh,
know,
yeah.
I'm sure you all dealt with that. I felt that, but by the time like maybe 10 o'clock the next morning, I had a bad night's sleep because I had the headache and I kept waking up because I was so hot. And I woke up early in the morning and got up. I took some Tylenol, and by 10 o'clock in the morning, it was gone, completely gone. But I had no aches and pains and
Well,
flu
I always have
feeling.
a bad reaction to the flu shots. I mean, bad. They linger
Ugh.
for weeks.
Okay.
And I can't even get the flu shot in my arms anymore because the one year I couldn't raise my arm because I
Wow.
had such a welt there for so long. And last year and this year I got them in my butt. And I
Okay.
always get a bad reaction, like a welt,
Yeah, a
a raised
bullet.
welt. And
Yes.
it wasn't hot, but they told me if it got hot to worry.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't hot, but it was a raised welt. So this one I'm nervous about because I can't even handle a
The
flu shot, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm nervous about this. And I have a reduced immune system because of this stupid tendon issue I have with me. But I was curious because you said
Yeah.
you would give us an update. And so that's a good update. So does
Yeah.
anybody else have one?
I did, I both my shots and I had the same
Where
experience.
okay, there you are.
I'm sorry, Joanne. Yeah.
Joanne, okay.
I had the same experience. The first one, I just was sore. My arm was sore for a little while. Nothing worse than a tetanus shot, though. I don't think it was really bad.
Yeah,
at all.
mine wasn't even as bad as that.
Yeah. The second one, I had the same thing. Like 24 hours after I got it, I had like that hot flashes, and just felt like I was burning up. I never had a fever, though. I took my temperature twice.
Same here.
And the next day, I really felt fine. So, and I work at the hospital too. Most of the girls who got it with me, we've all had kind of the same experience. I haven't known anybody anyhow that got a really bad reaction or that it lingered for any length of time.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, a couple of the girls didn't even have any reaction at all.
Yeah,
which is-
same here. Some of the nurses that I work with had absolutely no reaction at all, even to
Yeah.
their second vaccine.
Yeah.
None at all.
But I think a little bit of reaction is not necessarily a bad thing. That gives you a good immune response. That means
That's
that you're
right.
working for it. So
Yeah, people don't realize it's not a live vaccine. You're not getting COVID.
Mhm.
It's simply your body reacting to that, the immunity, building the immunity.
Yeah, see, and now
That reaction is not a bad thing.
and see, I'm not the right age, so I have to wait. So
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm only 63, so I gotta wait for maybe this summer.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you can't, right now, you can't get it anywhere.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Well, my neighbor across the street got hers, and she called me this morning that she was on the person who called right when I started with the Zoom class today. She said Wegmans, the Wegmans up here on Transit Road.
Yeah, you have to be in the right place at the
You have to
right
be in the-
time. They
yeah.
run out very quickly because they're not doing like none of the pharmacies or anything are doing walk-ins. You have to have
Have
an appointment. And it's just a matter of getting online or calling them at the right time to, when they have a new
Right.
batch or they have an appointment available.
Mhm.
So
I wish they would give it to our doctors so we could go to the doctor.
I agree.
Me too.
do.
Yeah,
You mean to
I
tell
think
me
the
they're not giving them to
distribution is
doctor's
not the
offices?
greatest.
No. Not to my doctor's office last night. My husband emailed their office and he got a response and they said they're not going to get the vaccine
Till
At all.
summer. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they don't do the shingles vaccine anymore there, you know, they send you to a pharmacy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't want a pharmacy to be my doctor.
Neither do
No,
I. I want a nurse putting my shot in my butt, you know?
Thank you. Yeah.
That doesn't make me feel comfortable because
No.
I've had the shot in my arm, and the one year I love the nurse. It's the same one all the time, but the way she put it in, for some reason it hit a nerve and I couldn't raise my arm.
Ow.
And it's not
Yeah.
her fault. It just happens
No.
to be the way she stuck it in there. And for 3 months I had a knot there and it did something to the nerve and I couldn't raise my arm all the way up. It was like stuck. It was stiff.
Yeah.
And
But at
so
least that reaction is fluky. That's not a reaction that your body will react to every, vaccine you get. That was just a fluke that the way she gave it.
oh
hit a
yeah,
nerve.
that was, but
Yeah.
because of that, they recommended that now I get the any flu shot in my behind. So for the
Yeah.
last 3 years, that's what I've done. And believe it or not, the last flu shot I got as an adult was the swine flu shot in 1977.
Yeah, that was in the 70s.
And I waited at St. Barnabas Church where they were giving them out for 4 hours in line to get that. And I was sick for 6 months.
Mm.
I didn't, though, my last year at college, I thought I was going to die. It just did something. It just wore
Yeah.
me out. But, so I never wanted to get a flu shot, but now that I'm babysitting my grandson, it was like, you will get a flu shot. So when they were pregnant with him 4 years, I had to get the flu shot. So this is my 3rd year getting the flu shot and I've had reactions to them, but nothing that I would call catastrophic. But this one I'm genuinely kind of concerned about. Anyway, so I'm sewing. I got one paw put together.
Oh,
I got my first shot down here without a problem, just a little soreness in the arm. But now I'm waiting to get called for the second one because
21 days.
how
Yeah.
many?
21.
21. Yeah. Okay. So
Approximate.
that's approaching because it was 1/1/21 when I got.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So soon.
Will
So
they save her a shot so she doesn't miss the second shot?
They
I-
should.
Yeah, the place that you need to go back to the same exact place that you got it because you have to get the same manufacturer.
right.
So like if you got a Moderna, you need to get a Moderna for the second time.
Correct.
If you got a Pfizer, you need to get the Pfizer the second time.
Correct.
So
I understand that. And
you'll
this
go
is
back to the
through-
same,
through
so
the
just,
county health department down here.
so they'll probably send you an email. Did you give an email?
Not yet for the
Or
second.
us, when you got your first one? Did you give them your email?
Yes.
So they'll either send you an email or they'll call you on the phone
Yeah.
to
And we've been
schedule
getting,
that second shot.
checked on it through what they call V-Safe.
Right. Yes. On
Yeah.
your phone. Yeah.
Yeah, on my phone. So, yeah. So I'm pretty confident that, because they were so well organized and so
That's
smooth,
great.
and we never got out of the car.
Oh, good.
Wow.
Really? Now, where's
Yeah.
this, Florida?
Oh, man, I'd love to see Diane sticking her rear end out the window.
Well, that'd be a special, I think she's a special
That was
case.
precious. And believe me, if I had to, I would do it.
But yeah, so, but it was so well organized and so slick. And the people that I have 3 close friends down here. All 4 of us got them done the same day. So,
That's great.
Now,
Very
did you
good.
just go do it or did they call you and tell you to come?
no, we had to get an appointment and it was all over the computer.
Okay, so you initiated it though. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what I'm gonna have to do here is I'm gonna have to wait until it's open for anybody. And then call and make an
Well, you can
appointment.
go online and look up the DOH website to see what the schedule is. There is a schedule that, like right now, it's 65 and above.
Right.
So if you're like a healthcare worker, there's like a big list of firefighter, EMT.
Yeah, that was in the
whatever.
paper. That was in the
Yeah.
paper the other
And
day.
then
And I'm way
65,
down.
now
I'm not
we're
even
down to
on
the
there.
65 and above.
Yeah.
And,
We're
actually, I
still
think
75 and above.
No, it's
um,
65 now.
yeah, I think it's 65 now.
But
In
not
New York-
in North Carolina. It's
No,
75.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because
And then,
we hit the 65 one, fine, and then some. But
yeah,
you still can't get anywhere near. the
Yeah, that's-
appointments.
you just have to check a couple times a day.
Yeah.
Helen, go on wherever you go, like your pharmacy or
Yeah,
wherever you decide you want to get someplace that's close to your house. And just keep checking on a daily basis, even 2 times a day, in the afternoon and in the evening, to see if there's an opening that you could fit yourself into.
yeah. Because I can't imagine somebody making an appointment and then not showing up,
Right.
where you get filled in for a cancellation. Like, are they crazy?
Yeah, I don't think so.
So in other words, I'm not gonna have any choice but to get it in my arm, right? Because I can't go to my doctor's office?
No,
Oh, that's
because if
just
your
no fun.
pharmacy, if your pharmacy has, like the pharmacy that I go to, they have a separate room for immunizations and for vaccines.
Oops.
So they would take you into a room with a closed door. So you
I don't think
Yeah, I
my
need to
Rite
get
Aid
it by
does.
ear.
I don't
You
think
know.
so.
I don't think my Rite Aid does, and I'm not going to Wegmans and dropping my drawers.
You do a drive.
Oh, boy. Well, I guess, if I want it, I'm just gonna have to deal with it.
I would
that's fine.
call your doctor's office and remind them how you have to get your shots.
Shot in the butt.
Yeah,
But the doctors are not
getting
receiving the
it.
vaccine.
yeah, they're
Yeah,
not
no,
getting it.
it's- that's
They're
the
they're
problem.
distributing it
Not
through
good.
pharmacies and, centers like the hospital or whatever. You can do that. You can probably call like,
Maybe
Your
I could go
local
to Millard
hospital.
Fillmore Suburban when the time
Suburban,
comes.
Kenmore Mercy has
Yeah.
them.
Well, Millard Fillmore Suburban, I could spit on. It's right
Okay, so
right
you-
here.
yeah, that's a Kaleida. So if you
Yeah,
might be
I
able
am.
to get in through there.
That's the
Although,
only
like
place
Kenmore
out.
Mercy, it was just a big room with 4
Yeah.
tables set up, so you
Yeah.
wouldn't want to drop your drawers there, but I don't know if they would have a separate room to take you to.
What hospital do you work at, Jean?
Sisters.
Oh, Sisters.
Okay.
Yeah, I work for the Catholic health system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
And
work
Joanne,
at
where do you work?
I work at Children's Hospital
Okay.
for Kaleida Health.
Where do you work? What department do you work in, Joanne?
J10, it's a med surge floor.
A med surge?
Yeah.
Okay. I worked for 5 years. It was a little less than 5 years at Children's in the NICU.
Oh, yeah. I probably saw you because we used to float to NICU all the time.
Oh, really? How
Mhm.
long have you been there?
38 years.
Do you know,
Oh.
my sister Teresa used to work in labor and delivery, Teresa Monette. Teresa
Oh, ma-
Moria. She's a little tiny blonde. Maybe if you saw her picture, because she was all
Probably.
over the hospital.
Yeah. Because we used to float there too. When I started, we floated everywhere. you know.
Yeah, don't you hate that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hate floating. All right, I gotta get started working. I'll be at my sewing machine here.
Oh, okay. I have one more question. Do you have the March dates yet? Because I have to turn my requests in.
Oh,
Yeah, good thinking.
let me send a message to Alyssa and see if I can get an answer today.
Okay, cool.
I don't have them yet.
Okay.
When are February's? We have February's already?
Oh, yes.
How come I don't have that in my calendar?
I put February up on the thing.
Oh, yeah, is it at the 11th and the 18th?
I think.
Yeah. Yes.
You know what I learned yesterday? You can
What?
change your own needle threader.
Really?
I broke my needle threader on my 790. I went to use it and the little wire thing just kind of dropped onto the bed of the machine. And I was like, uh-oh, what did I do? So I when Colton was sleeping yesterday, I let John watch him and make sure he was okay. And I took the machine up there, and Janelle was there at the store, and she goes, "I can fix this." And she pulled one out, and you just snap it off and put it back on. And I thought I was going to have to leave it there for like 3 weeks for
Oh,
them
wow.
to have it in the queue to fix it. And she says, "No, you can just come and buy it, and it snaps on and it snaps right off." So I learned something really valuable yesterday.
Oh, that's good.
How much did it end up costing?
That was $44.99 for the little teeny thing that you snap on. You take the foot off, you take the needle off, and you just grab hold of it with your fingernails and push down on the little mechanism that's on the shaft, and you push it down and it snaps right off, and you slide the new one on and snap it right back in place, and you're done.
Oh, I'm gonna call
I
him.
thought I was going to have to pay like a repair fee and and wait 3 weeks to get it back for the needle threader, and you don't. So
Wow.
that's my $5.90 and my $7.90. I learned that. So that made me feel much better because I was able to bring it right back home.
I need one on my 590 right now, and that's why I wasn't gonna take it in, because I didn't want to have to be without the machine.
$44.99, and I think I got the last one that she had in stock
Okay, so I'll call him
at
to order one.
Aurora, at the one here in Williamsville.
Okay,
But
I'm gonna-
it was $44.99. It's this little white thing, and it works. And as a matter of fact, the little package that it came in didn't even say it was for the 700 and 800 models. And Janelle said it fits them all. So I had one that she thought it was my $5.90. And when I brought the machine on and put it on the counter, she goes, "Oh, you got a $7.90. She says, "I thought it was your $5.90. And I said, no. And she said, "Well, it doesn't matter because it fits anyway," which it did. So $44.99, and I thought it was worth every penny.
Well, thank
Because
you.
I tried all day on Thursday to thread that needle.
Oh,
Oh my God, I'm blind. It took me 10 minutes to thread the needle each time, to go in and out and cut the thread and then back. It was driving me crazy. I forgot how used to that needle threader I got.
Do you know what I use when I'm having trouble? I don't know. Do you have a serger, Diane?
Do I have a what?
A serger?
No.
Because if you have a pair of tweezers, if you grab the thread, it's easier to thread the needle. If you get
Yeah.
stuck.
Instead of by hand?
Yeah, take the tweezers and hold the thread with your tweezers, and that goes.
My
it really-
problem is I
do that too.
can't see. I have trifocals, and my problem is I can't lift my head up enough
To see.
I have to kneel on the floor to be able to get down there low enough to tip my head up enough to use the trifocal part. And I
yeah.
was like, oh my God. And then I thought, okay, I'm using a Microtex. Their needle holes are small. I switched to a quilting needle so that I could hit a bigger eye, but then it was a bigger needle and it was hard to piece. I was working on the Buffalo Bills pillows with Nikki, and that's when I broke the needle threader.
Oh, geez.
So Tuesday was one of those days. But I'm glad because I learned yesterday that when you break a needle threader, you can fix it yourself. And that was
good.
great.
At which point you go, hallelujah.
Exactly. Yes. Eileen, you missed me. I was doing a victory dance, one of those victory dances in there.
I know.
All right, ladies, can we talk about Best Press? Where has that been my whole life? I just bought some. I think Eileen recommended it, and I bought some at in Williamsville with the little, container, to spray.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, what a difference!
Best stuff ever.
Yeah.
What a difference!
But I
My
put it.
Christmas present every year from Andrew is a gallon of it.
I bought the big bottle of it, and then I'm filling my little squeeze bottle.
Tell them about the spray bottle.
I love this spray bottle.
I love that spray bottle.
Yeah, I know. It
Best thing ever.
I
Yes.
keep using it, and it hardly goes down at all.
I know. I said the same thing. I got like 4 blocks done, and I still can't. It's still not below the white, into the clear plastic. It's still. I'm like, am I using any of it? You know?
Use it, and I use it for all the time. I think some of my blocks could stand up by themselves.
Same here. Some of mine are very stiff.
Helen, where did you get that spray bottle?
I got it at Aurora.
Okay.
Yeah,
When
it's
I
the
get back in
mister.
the summer, I'm gonna have to go buy that.
I'll tell you what, the
Aurora
other
too.
the other place you can get them is a lot of times beauty parlors will sell them.
Yeah, I got mine at Aurora as well.
Yeah.
Oh, and Eileen,
Yes.
I got my Christmas gift. Just like the one you have.
What is that?
It's a light. It's a
Oh, a
day
light.
Oh,
and it flips and it bends to wherever I want it to go.
Oh, that's amazing.
I had one that she used when she was sewing out at camp this summer.
That goes on the top of a table? Or does it clamp on something?
No, it just sits right on the table. I have mine sitting right behind my sewing machine, so I can focus the light right on the needle where I need it.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, I was so excited. I knew Brad would come through for me for Christmas.
Good.
I gave him the idea over the summer. I took a picture of it on Amazon and I sent it and I said, hey, just saying Christmas.
Is that a knot light?
The daylight.
it's LED probably, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We used to sell them at our events.
Yep. I absolutely love it.
I have the big light that has the swing arm and the magnifying glass and the clamp. I got that for Christmas from my mother-in-law one year. Okay. I'm making the claws.
Good for you. I'm trying to sew too, but I'm sewing on a store machine and it's got a walking foot on it and I hate it. So I'm ripping mine out and I'm gonna wait and sew when I go home.
You get spoiled with your dual feed, don't you?
Yeah, I do, and I didn't bring my 590 today because I thought I could sew on this, but it's just a little bit of a clunker,
What machine are you using?
a 350. And I find that the 350 just isn't quite as precise as I would like it to be, partly because of the dual feed.
Yeah. You get used to one thing and it's,
Oh, I know, you really do. All the time.
You know what I'm finding on this one? I got it laying out in front of me and I'm picking up 1/2 square triangle pair at a time. And I pick it up, sew it and put it back down. Then I'm not going to put them on backwards.
Well,
Yeah.
that's a good way to keep yourself.
Yeah, because when I did the Christmas one, I picked up all 4 of them at once and came and chain pieced them. And I had to stand there and a couple of times I had some of them on backwards.
Yeah. You know, one question I have for you, do you have any tips or recommendations whenever I chain piece? When I put, like my first one will go through really nicely. Then when I go to put my second one through, it seems like the the feet don't grasp the material and it crunches up the material and pushes it into the hole of the plate. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or.
First of all, I would raise a question about what plate you're using. If you use a plate that has just one hole in it, it will
Yeah,
push it in. If you're using a plate that's got a wide opening,
I do.
it's gonna suck it down in there.
It sucks it right down in. Yeah, mine has. So I can purchase a plate. You guys really need to get on my back about getting that Bernina out. I really
You,
Please.
you have a Bernina you're not using?
Oh my God.
Don't look at me. I'm using a old singer that my husband bought me for our 25th wedding anniversary. And my Bernina is sitting in a bag in my closet.
Oh my God.
Go
I
get it
know.
out. Go get it out now.
No.
I know. Problem with it, I don't know what, I think I need somebody to hold my hand while I'm sitting next to them and show me how to use it. It's so intimidating.
What,
It's not intimidating at all. It is a very easy machine to use.
Yeah, that's what they keep telling me.
Get it
Audrey,
out.
you know, Audrey in our group, she yells at me all the time about and I know she's gonna watch this recording. So Audrey, don't give me a hard time.
No, Audrey, please give her a hard time.
Yes, yes. Get
All
it
right,
out. So,
all
get
right,
it
I'll
out
make
so
a
next
deal.
time.
The next block, which is, when is our next class?
February.
18? No,
The
Next week.
28.
the
next week.
21st.
Yeah.
All right, Jean Fred Holt, promise that on the 21st, behind me, you will see my Bernina. And I
Okay.
will work on my next block with my Bernina. All right?
Yes.
All right.
They're gonna
Better.
hold you to it.
All right.
Eileen, does this, before I use this as my template, does this look like I got it right?
It does look like you've got it right. Just make sure that you're aware that the inside square will lay differently.
What do you mean?
Well, if use it for a template for the outside clause, but your inside block,
Oh, will be different. I see.
Be different.
Yes. Because they're all different. Okay.
It'll be in a different place.
Right.
but yes, the clause look good on that.
All right. Cool.
That looks pretty.
Thank you. Thank you.
another hint is too, all of the points point to each other. On the paw. See how they point to each other
Yeah.
like arrows?
Yeah.
Then you know you got it right too.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
So Sumir, I'm glad you popped in.
Who?
Thank you.
Oh, there you are.
Craig. Yeah.
Did you get the COVID there? You said you were all exposed to it.
Yeah, we were exposed. Nobody got it. And then we were on quarantine for 2 weeks. Then the third week, I got like a sinus infection, had to go be tested. And while I was waiting for my test results, we had to quarantine. So we were like 3 weeks in quarantine.
Oh my gosh.
I was negative, but yeah. So no Christmas, no nothing.
That's rough. Yeah.
Excelsior
Crazy.
Orthopedics.
It was very good.
The girl that does my PT with me, she wasn't in this week when I went on Tuesday too, and she was tested. So were 2 other people there. So, but her test came back negative. She emailed me and told me, because I was like, oh my God, you were working on my barefoot. You were, and then you were out sick. So I was like, you better call me and tell me when you get tested, what the results are. And it came back negative. So I was worried about that.
I miss Lorraine today too. And Joyce, has anybody heard anything from Joyce lately? Audrey, she's working.
I messaged her last night.
Who, Joyce?
And she said that her son's here. Yeah. Her son's here visiting.
Okay.
And she's been sleeping a lot. She, I guess, doesn't feel good, you know?
Oh dear. And Jewel, you said Jewel was working, right? Okay, so now.
Too quiet. Well, you can't say that piecing isn't relaxing,
I know.
because it is.
It's also relaxing to just talk to all of you. How, Joanne, how soon do you have to know that for your schedule?
Um,
Oh, you just turned yourself off.
I thought I turned myself on Saturday, I have to turn in my request. They go up to March 13th,
Okay.
right? Yeah. Yeah.
Alyssa said that she's waiting for our teacher proposals to come in and we have to have them turned in by the 18th.
Oh, that's okay. You know what I'll do? I'll just take the Thursday off that week, just, just in case, right?
It's usually the second and third week, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what it's been. So that would be like the 11th and the 18th then?
Well, I'm not saying that's definite, but I'm saying
No, but yeah.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
I'll take every Thursday off in March and you'll be all set.
Right. Well,
That could be your sewing day.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to do, but it doesn't always work that way.
Yeah. Yeah, she hasn't started putting the classes into the calendar yet, so that's the issue.
oh, you know what? I'll just take those Thursdays. I'll just see if I can get those off and then.
I'll let you know on the Facebook page as soon as I know. I'll be right back. glad that you think this is an easy block. That's a good sign, ladies.
We're all busy beavers.
Yes, I know. That's great. Have you ladies noticed what beautiful things are appearing on behind the scenes lately? I've been very impressed by people's projects.
I have, and I wanted to ask, and I guess this is a good place to ask. A lot of the projects are being done by what was the name of the class? It's not block of the month. What is the, oh, a sewing club.
Yeah.
What exactly is sewing club?
Well, they have a sewing club. It's a club where they meet together every single month of the year from September until June.
Okay,
There is an embroidery club that meets once a month, every single month. When
okay,
we used to do them at the store, we would teach them and people would come and we'd have 60 to 80 people at a time
wow,
coming. Now we have like 180 to 200 that join a Zoom and we do it on Zoom. And each month it's a different topic and you can join it if you're interested. They have a printout at the counter in the store that I shows you all the different people that are presenting. I am presenting the embroidery club in January, on January 20th. And then on February, I'm the sewing club. And it's always
So-
a different topic.
so when they're doing it Zoom, you do your own project? Because everybody seems to have different projects.
Now, those projects that you're seeing, that they are putting on there for sewing club, if you submit something that you have made, then they take your name and they put it in a drawing. And they also take those pictures and put them on a little bit of a slideshow so that when you come to the Zoom, this collection of beautiful things that people have made. And
Okay,
then they have a drawing and somebody gets a door prize.
okay,
And the only way they can have them send the pictures is to submit them to Behind the Seams. So then they go through and collect all those pictures.
okay.
And you'll be seeing some things that are submitted before Embroidery Club pretty soon. And then
Okay.
the same thing for that. Yeah.
But
And
each of the clubs have their own little theme that, and you're sent then like the pattern or what?
Then,
I guess-
then you can buy the patterns that we
Right,
or the products that we sell, or
Okay.
advertising that. I am
okay,
doing the Amelia Scott designs and the
okay,
runners, and edge to edge and all of that. That's going to be on January 20th.
okay,
Now, I don't know, you might be able to register to just get into something, a one-time thing, if it's a topic that you're interested in.
That's what I
Okay.
do.
Yeah,
okay.
if it doesn't interest you, you don't have to get in it, but it's always kind of fun. It keeps you up to date with some of the new things that are out there.
Yeah,
I
okay,
joined the sewing club for the whole year, but the embroidery club, I just am doing one at a time because I don't do that much embroidery. But I
Yeah.
wanted to see your edge to edge for the table runners
Okay,
because that's a smaller project, which is what I've been doing mostly, not big quilts so much anymore,
right.
or not lately anyway. Except this one.
Yeah. Well, that's why I've been kind of, I don't want to say overwhelmed. I've just been very busy because I've been teaching, like I'm teaching 2 classes today and 2 tomorrow. And I've been,
Yeah.
but I'm also working on these 2 clubs that I've got to present for.
that's a lot of preparation.
Yeah, you've got to do the nebula, which I
Yeah.
haven't even looked at yet.
I haven't either, and I've got to do that. I'm going to run a class in it for people who need support, so.
I signed up for that class. Yeah.
Good.
Eileen, will
The only
you
way
do
I'm going to do it is if I take a class. I have to, or it'll
Right.
sit there.
It motivates people to get it done.
Right.
Robin, did you have something to say?
Yeah, will you do another, are you gonna plan to do another edge to edge beginner class?
Well, a lot of people are asking me that. I am going to do tomorrow an edge to edge quote unquote refresher. If you know
Right.
nothing about edge to edge, it's worth sitting in on that.
Oh, all right.
And then I am going to, I think in March, I'm going to try to teach an edge to edge 1 class for people who
Right.
do it.
Okay, cool.
The problem is everybody has a different machine.
Right.
And when I do it in person, then I can move from machine to machine and help people.
Mhm.
When I'm doing it online, I can't do that. So you're
Right.
really be on your own, and I'm just gonna, I'll,
I have a question.
yes.
Couldn't you do a class in where you're sitting right now with like 4 people spread out?
They won't.
Are they not allowed?
Um, I don't think that they've been given permission to do classes yet. I don't think so. We can have like 4 people or 6 people in the store, but move around to different areas, so they're all far apart from each other. And they won't close the store because we've been deemed essential. And that's
good.
Absolutely.
Yes.
good to know. But I've got to agonize over this edge to edge and see if there's a way that I can teach it so that you will get what you need. Yeah, it will be a challenge for me.
Maybe when they register, they can tell you what kind of machine they have.
Well,
So you can kind of set it in your head, you know?
I'm almost tempted to offer the class like edge to edge for Bernina and Baby Lock and just limit it to that.
Yeah.
Somebody has a Janome and a FOF, they could watch it, but I can't address their machines because I don't know those machines well enough.
Yeah.
Right.
And when they come to a sit-down class, I always tell them, you've got to know your machines and be able to interpret what I'm showing people how to do because I don't know your machines.
I think you also have to have at least tried some embroidery. So you've seen the screens that your machine,
Right.
what screens come up. So you know, have an idea of where those settings are.
Right.
And you've actually put the hoop on and taken the hoop off.
Yeah, and you know how your machine, yeah, you know kind of what to do. I mean, I can do a little PowerPoint presentation of how to read your screens, at least especially on the Bernina, because that's what I sew with. I have not actually done edge to edge on a Baby Lock, but I've taught enough people that if I can remember how to do it, I can kind of walk them through it.
Oh.
Or I need to come in and I need to sit down on one of the Berninas and take some pictures of the Bernina machine so that I can help them know what buttons to push, because it's complicated. It's not.
It is.
Yeah.
Especially when you get into if something doesn't seem to be going right, how do I get out of this?
Right.
So that you can still use it, because you're so, I mean, the first few times when it didn't go as well as I thought it should, I didn't even want to touch any buttons because I didn't know what was going to happen to the machine.
It really won't screw up the machine.
I know that now, but I didn't at that time.
Right.
So, and you have to be ready also to, I know for mine on the 590, it tells you when to put that hoop on.
Right.
If you put it on before that, too bad, it's not going to work.
And my biggest problem with that was if a thread broke.
Yeah.
I never could figure out where exactly to go to continue where you were, to back up and go forward, and using the things on the machine, the controls and the dials, and that was good in the class.
I can tell you that, yeah.
That backwards knob is great.
Yep. Yep, and so is that little broken stitch.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's one of the first things I really learned.
Yeah, in fact, while you're all on here, are there any other classes that you would like to see offered in March that you haven't been able to take and want to, or that you would like a class in? Because they're asking for our proposals by the 18th, and so I'm looking for ideas.
How about the thing behind you?
Oh yeah, that quilt behind you is pretty.
Okay.
The magnetic hoop, I have one ordered, but it's back ordered, so I don't even know if it'll be until March. But I would like to take a class on how to use that.
The magnetic hoop, okay.
That's a good idea. I got one for Christmas 2 years ago.
I
It's still
got
sitting in
one
the
for
box.
But it's back ordered, so I still haven't got it yet to play with, but
I have actually taught some classes on the magnetic hoop already. I've done it twice.
yeah. I just didn't have one then, so it's hard to like if you don't
Well,
have.
and if I offered it in March, you might have it by then.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. It's ordered through the store, so I'm not sure when.
Anything else that you can think of that you want to learn?
Well, the paper, I always would like to try the paper piecing, but hopefully if we do it with one of our squares, that might give you some basics on it. I've never done anything on the paper piecing.
Okay. Well, you know how I offered you that bonus Christmas block, that extra one?
Mhm.
What I'll do is offer it to you as an extra block at some point, like maybe February, and we will learn, I'll show you how to do it in one of these classes.
Great.
We could do that. Find it, because one of the things I've got to figure out is how to get the pattern to you so that you've got the paper piecing template to copy.
Yeah.
Be able to copy that onto some paper so that you've got it to piece with. And I may be able to just put it into a pattern. I've just got to figure that out.
Hey, my last November one is done.
Yay.
Ah, lazy.
Pretty.
Now I can start. Now I can start October.
Oh, I'm very impressed, Robin. Good for you.
Crazy.
We need to talk to your friend Sue Lear and get her to try one block.
I know. Suzanne,
Lear, we're cheering for you. I want to see you do one.
I know. I just I Katie the other day. My biggest problem is cutting it out. So I'm going to actually invest in the Go big one, and it's on sale this month.
Yes.
Till the end of the month, so I'm gonna get it, and then I can cut them and hopefully do them.
Good. That would be
I have a
good.
terrible time trying to, so I'm treating myself.
Okay. I'm cheering for you.
I know. I'll get there.
I really like this one. This November one.
You like that?
Yeah.
See?
It's
yeah.
very pretty. It's very
Every-
pretty.
I like the circle in the middle.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
We've done some very pretty blocks.
Yeah.
And when you hang them up on a wall like Irene does and like my sister does, and you look at them all, you realize you're really making yourself a very pretty quilt.
Oh, those were just stunning. I just have to figure out where to make myself a hanging spot.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah. I'm just so excited to be using this fabric that I've had for so many years.
Well, I'm glad you're getting a chance to use it. That's great.
Mhm.
It's fun to play with it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a person that likes to play with fabric.
Yeah, I think this last November one is my favorite.
Good. Well, you'll find that as you do the October ones and then the September ones, we all did those. Those are all bigger pieces like the first block this month.
Yeah.
And they begin to feel easy after you've done the smaller pieces.
Right. Are they 6-inch blocks or 8-inch blocks? Eileen, do you remember for the October?
The only month that had 6-inch was December.
Oh, okay.
All the rest, so far before that, they were all the 8-inch block. And you've got that, don't you?
I have a 6 and an 8.
Yeah, okay, well then use the 8
Okay.
for October and September and November, yeah.
I think I might redo the December one that I did with rotary cutting because it's a little bit bigger than the ones with that I cut with the AccuQuilt.
Really?
Mhm.
Interesting.
Yeah, just a little bit, like maybe a 1/4 of an inch all the way around.
Uh-huh. And you can't downsize it?
Well, I can, but
You lose.
there's points and I don't want to cut them off.
Did you, what I would do is also look at it and see, it could have been your 1/4 of an inch seam. Because when you're
Okay,
sewing with AccuQuilt, you know exactly what your seam needs to be. And when you
right.
cut, sometimes you don't.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I just finished my block.
Let's see. Oh, pretty.
Pretty.
Is it? Is the
Very
light
nice.
hitting
Oh,
it?
nice.
Wait, hold on.
Brenda,
Move the light.
you need to talk, Brenda.
Oh, pretty.
Okay, I'm talking.
Oh,
Oh,
that is
boy.
beautiful.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, I
Oh,
love it.
Yeah,
You
really
like
good.
it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Very
that
nice.
inside is different than the outside.
Yes,
Love it.
love it.
Thank
Oh,
you.
beautiful.
Very
Can't
pretty.
believe I actually got one done before the end of the hour.
I don't see any mistakes.
No.
Well, if I hold it still, maybe. All right.
Looks
Brenda,
good.
that looks really pretty. I really like it.
Thank you. Eileen, did you do anything? Because I didn't see them of the pictures I sent you for the whale. You
Oh,
probably didn't have time.
yeah, no, I forgot. Just now,
Oh,
you told me that. I remember you sent them to me. I need to send those. I need to see. I'm trying to. When you send them to me, I'm not real technologically smart,
neither am I.
and I wish there was a way that you could post them because
But I don't have Facebook on my phone.
yeah, I have to. All right, yeah, because they came out so nice. Let me see.
Yeah, just the two of them. They don't need to see the Halloween one.
But oh, you don't want to do that?
Well, you can if you want.
The one with the Jolene squares? Or,
The Jolene, the 3 templates for Jolene.
yep, I'm gonna, what I have to do is I have to go through the process of sending it to myself. It's got to come in an email.
Oh,
I'll send it to myself. There's
Can
one.
you put some paper in my printer?
Okay, so now there's that one. So now if I send the other ones, then I can put them up there.
Yeah, I hope they don't get blurry.
Sometimes they are, sometimes your blocks are, but these are pretty clear. So send this one to, see, I have to send it to myself. I got kind of off balance this week because I had a friend die and,
Right, I saw that and I'm so sorry.
yeah, well, you know, life happens. And while she was a very dear friend, I started saying goodbye to her a couple years ago because she developed dementia.
Oh,
And it got to the point where she didn't really do well with, I could still converse with her on the telephone somewhat, but she didn't always know who she was talking to.
yeah.
That's sad.
All right, so now I've got that in email somewhere here. This is good because since I'm not sewing on this machine, yep, they came through. So now I have to download it. But okay, I've got them in an email, but I'm going to have to download them on my computer.
Okay,
And
all
then,
right,
then I will upload, because they're in an email, I will remember to do that.
right.
Sorry about
That's okay.
I'm glad you reminded me.
I know it because some of it was the AccuQuilt designs. I thought maybe somebody would like to see them,
Yep.
or just the cutouts anyway.
Yep.
All right.
Oh, I'm good. Are you leaving or are you going to work on something else?
I don't have anything else at the moment.
Oh, she doesn't have anything else. Oh my gosh.
Well, I mean, I still have some of the tops that we made over the summer, but I'm
You want
slowly.
to do it? You want to do a couple of back ones for me?
Now, Eileen, I sent you a picture of the paper piece one that was a 12-inch square that on the hanger. Did I show that to you? I'm pretty sure I sent it to you. All right, I'll go grab it and show it. Here, hold on. Okay, ladies, this is my first paper piecing ever.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Very
how-
nice.
Eileen taught that to me over the summer.
Oh, that is absolutely beautiful.
Wow.
Beautiful, right?
Very nice.
I like that.
Oh.
Love it.
Very good.
Yeah, it's on that holder. My grandson made the top, the decorative top. He did it on his 3D printer.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So
That's
yeah.
amazing.
So I
That
just
is,
put the holder,
that's beautiful.
and then he made the top for me.
Beautiful.
And you know, if you can paper piece that, you can paper piece anything.
Yeah.
Right, Eileen?
Yes. Yeah.
I did a Halloween design after this one, and then I haven't done one since, so I'm a little worried trying to start one again. I'm afraid I forgot what I was doing, but I did write directions down, so hopefully, okay.
That came out really
Very
nice.
nice. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Sign up for the February class.
Yeah, the February class should be an interesting one. I haven't done it yet. I've got to get busy and make mine, but I'm. Oh,
What's the date on that February one, Eileen?
the February one is a starburst. It's in that book. If you have the book, the Little Gems book,
Which book?
Oh, the Little Gems book, what one is it?
the Little Gems book, it's called Starburst. It might be toward the back. If you've got a picture of it, you could hold it up and show it. You do 4 of them. You can
I
create
got it.
great
Oh.
big
Let's see.
You have the book there, Brenda?
Oh, I'm looking. I had this room all apart last week because we put down a new floor
Oh,
and I have it organized. I just don't know where anything is now.
well, I totally get that. Anyway,
It's been,
it's
it's
in
still out of
the book and it's in the back.
paper.
What's the date on that, Eileen?
There's press okay.
Well, I'll tell you, just a minute. I think it's in February. It is February. Does that sound right?
Up with it.
The fifth
February-
and
Turn it off and back on.
February 5th, 5 and February 12.
I don't know if can you see the picture?
Oh, there.
This
Hold
is-
that right up.
This is what's on the website for the class to sign up for.
That's the Starburst?
That's the Starburst. And it looks like it's a hanging on one of those, that hanger like you have, Brenda.
It's 12 inches.
Well,
12
that's cool.
square.
That's pretty.
And if you make 4 of them and put them together, you have a nice wall hanging that's like a
Oh,
Yeah.
I liked it because it's the points seem to have some kind of a shading. So I wanted to learn how to do that.
Well, quite honestly, what I'm doing,
Right now.
I am taking and I am using front side of a fabric and then I'm turning it upside down and using the back side for the shading part.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So pick out some fabrics that, I'm using solid colors pretty much, but some of them have got kind of, like a cloud. They look kind of like a cloud. But when you turn them over, they're a little lighter on the back, but you can see the color through.
Yeah, a lot of fabrics have a whitish background or a grayish background, but a lot of solid colors come right through.
Right, right. So that's what I'm gonna try and do and see if it'll work.
Well, that's a good idea.
Yep.
And you really don't need big pieces of the fabric, do you?
No, no, they're fairly small. In fact, there's a lot of fairly small ones in this one. But if you've got the book, it's called Little Gems. It's a paper.
I ordered it last week when I signed up for the class, so.
And it has that pattern in it that Brenda just showed you. And
It had a lot of patterns in it. I looked at it online to see what was in it, but I think you did a demo on it. Oh, early in the pandemic.
Right, right. I have made several patterns from that book. Some of them are a little more complicated than others, but I go through and pick out the easiest ones. Because I figure if you book and you got patterns, and then I've downloading some patterns that Diane put me in touch with at that Panache site, and I may use some of those. I'd like to do a paper piece in class each month as I go through the year if I can.
Yeah.
was the one that Brenda did.
The one I did?
What was it called? Do you remember?
Hold on, I got it here. It is Spinner, S-P-I-N-N-E-R, Spinner.
Yep. Yep. And that's a very nice one to start with. If you've
Is
never.
that in the book? Is it in the book?
Yes,
Yes.
well, at least in my book.
It's in the Little Gems book.
Is that one of the simplest ones in that book?
Yes. Yep.
It has quite a few patterns in it, so that's why I thought it was a good investment, and then got to take the class too.
Right. Right. And then maybe what I need to do is offer that spinner class again, because as we get toward the springtime, it's a nice little pattern. It looks summery, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good class.
It was fun. Did you
I
take
don't have that pattern in my book.
the spinner?
No, the other one that
Yes,
that you were, I don't have it. I just looked through it.
The Starburst?
it's called the Starburst, and I think it's toward the back. Or look in, you've got the Little Gems book, right?
Yeah. Is there more than one?
I don't think
Hold
so.
yours up. Let me look at it. Do you have it there?
Well, yeah, I'll look harder next time. I'll look for it. But you're gonna give out instructions anyway, right?
We're gonna follow the pattern in the book.
All right.
I may, how I do, I always dissect everything and try to make it easier. So, but yeah, we'll follow the basic pattern, and you need the pattern because the templates are in it so that you can copy them on paper.
Right. So everybody has to get the book to take that class.
Pretty much,
Okay.
because otherwise it's really hard to get the templates to you.
Do you
Okay.
recommend any special paper or just the regular copy paper?
No, I would see if you can get a hold of something called foundation paper. We usually
Okay,
sell it at the store.
okay.
The only time, sometimes they're out of it, but I think right now both stores have got some. It's a little bit thinner. So that
Like
it,
newsprint.
yeah, it's almost like news,
I fixed it, but
and it makes it so much easier to use it. Because it comes off easier. You're pulling and tugging and almost all of the paper comes off. You don't have any little pieces that are sticking on.
Yeah, especially for little pieces like that. Regular copy paper is just
Too-
too thick
Yeah.
Right, right.
and too stiff.
If you get that book and you look at the pattern, I can't remember, but I think it actually tells you what size pieces you can cut
Oh,
so that they're all ready to put onto.
1 second.
Do it.
Yes, it does tell you. I'm looking at it. It's on page 67 in the Little Gems book.
Yep.
And it does say from the black solid cut 2 strips, et cetera, et cetera. And so then I'm assuming that for every strip, it,
For every one, I think it tells you.
yeah,
this.
maybe not. It says a medium piece, one direction says a medium piece. So,
I always cut mine bigger because it's easier to trim than pick.
Well,
yeah,
that's okay, as long as you're not working with something that's 6.5 inches, I've had people put pieces on that are way too big.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I do. I often cut mine a little bit bigger too, so that I'm absolutely sure it's gonna cover what I need it to cover.
yeah. Carol, could you hold up the cover of that book?
sure. Can you see?
Yes,
Got it?
I could. Yeah. You got to keep talking though.
Oh,
keep-
okay. Sorry. Yeah. Can everybody see that or am I too close? Or-
No, I
Nice.
can see. We can see.
Okay.
Okay.
The starburst is on page 16.
On page 68, and then the spin, there it is, yeah.
Yeah, mine's on 67. My issue is on the picture is on 66 and then 67.
Yeah, that's the way
Okay.
mine is.
And
Yeah.
if you look at that book, there's also the pattern called the spinner. And that's the one that Brenda did. And if you look at those papers, templates that you would copy onto the papers, those are very easy.
Is that the same book cover that you
So it
have?
looks
Yes,
together.
Yeah.
yes, it
Okay.
is.
You see, Sue is holding up the page where if you make 4 of those 12-inch squares
Oh, wow. Look at that.
together and make yourself a wall hanging. Because it would be about 26 inches or 24 inches. And that's the spinner, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
That's
Oh.
great.
Yeah. It's,
We talked about this last summer when you taught the class, I think.
Yep.
now, you did a class or a demo or something on it, and
I
I
took a class.
ordered the book and the foundation paper, and then I picked it up when I was in Williamsville in October.
Okay, good.
I
You need to get
We
into,
did the forest one.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
did, I did
Did
that.
that.
one, didn't I? Yes,
Took that with you, Eileen,
yes.
in the fall.
And that, I don't like the fabric they use.
Yeah,
They use
class.
something totally different and I really like.
Right.
I think that's the pattern I
Right,
use
'cause
for the Halloween material that I didn't like that pattern, or at least that material, so I kind of, shoot it away. And then when I had to choose something for my Halloween material, I used that and it was like day and night. And then I loved that pattern.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if I
I'm
have
getting a quilt, one of my quilt magazines. That same pattern.
Which one?
The houses. the
Oh, yeah.
table
You
runner.
got it in
Put
the quilt, that's where I got it from, the quilting magazine.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that came out really pretty.
Yeah, that's the one out of the pattern I didn't like. And now I like it.
Did
Oh,
you
I
fussy
love
cut
it.
the cats?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cute.
Yes, I did. But it's not done yet. I haven't had time.
But that's paper piece.
First, I thought you paid something on there, but it's the cats.
It's cats, yep.
And that was paper pieced?
That was paper pieced. That'll go
It
on,
was fun.
that will go on my holder when I get it done.
Yeah,
So,
pretty.
That's very
Yeah.
pretty.
Now, those 12-inch squares, if you really get turned on to the paper piecing and you like it, then you can make 3 of those and put them together in a beautiful table runner. They come out so nice. And I've got 2 table runners, one from the spinner and one from that design that you just showed us, Brenda.
yeah,
Those table runners are just gorgeous.
yeah.
Yes, I think they are. They're very.
Right. Yeah, I like the pattern now that I didn't use their material. I like it. I did. I went right over it in the book and then I couldn't find anything exactly what would look good with my Halloween. And then I ran into that and I said, well, I guess I'll give it a shot.
And that's in the same book? That pattern's in the same book?
Yes.
Oh, that's it. That is a good investment then.
Well, that's why I keep teaching these classes. I keep teaching another pattern in that book. But
That's
then
great.
when we did that Halloween octagon table topper, I got that idea out of that quilting magazine. And that's put out there by All People Quilt. I think it's All People Quilt, and it was a free pattern. And so I just adapted it a little bit and wrote up a pattern for people to get to the store because otherwise there was no way to get the templates to people.
Do you ever go to All People Quilt and look at all their stuff? Because I see it all the time.
I do. Every once in a while something hits me, but I've been looking lately and I haven't seen anything that turned me on, so.
I finished my square.
Oh, pretty. Hold it up
Wow.
again.
Hold it up and talk.
Oh, sorry. I finally finished it.
That was
Pretty.
beautiful.
Oh, nice.
Thank you.
I'm getting there.
I'm still cutting.
Oh, well.
I'm working on assembling each paw.
Yeah,
I'm working on the December Devil's Claw. I can't get it placed right. And I can't get it, it's just not, I'm struggling. First of all, I'm working with oversized and then I gotta trim them. Being as I didn't have the right AccuQuilt cutter.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I see how broken up you are.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So,
You know, no matter what we do, there are going to be some times when we'll probably end up cutting some with a rotary cutter. Because
Yeah.
eventually I'm going to start using some different shapes. Eventually, we're going to use in the blocks number 7, which we don't use very much.
No.
I mean, I think it looks kind of like a trapezoid or something like that. And
Oh, you're gonna make it difficult for us, huh?
I am going to, yep, I'm gonna have you try using that. And then, I don't know if it'll be March or April, but we may start using the angles, a couple of the dies in the angles, because I can show you how to make some different kinds of stars using the angles. And
Is that one of the companion sets?
yes,
Because I was going to start with the corners. There's 2 sets and I didn't know, that's my problem. I didn't know which one. I was in there the other day. Which one should you get first?
well, I think
Corners or the,
I might start with the angles first. And,
you would?
Which
Yeah.
size?
Are you gonna be doing them in the 8-inch block?
I think it will be the 8-inch because I only have the
Okay.
corners for the 8-inch block.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
And so, yeah, if we do more with this another year, we may get into doing, different kinds of things, but
Oh, that would be exciting.
Yeah.
you mean you're
Get the stuff I got done
another
first.
year? You would want to make another quilt, Irene?
What?
You would want to do this again next year?
Oh, sure,
Yeah.
sure. Anybody else? I'm in.
Me too.
I'm in.
Yeah,
Big yes, small no.
I probably would be too.
It's great motivation. Plus, I learned so much. I learned so much
got too many
sewing
UFOs.
information.
I agree. We want job security for you, Eileen.
Okay, well, you just hang in there. As long as I hang in here, we're good. As long as I don't get COVID, huh?
No.
Oh,
don't
don't
do that.
say that.
Diane has had COVID,
Who has?
Diane.
Oh, no.
She did.
She had her eye surgery and I think her resistance lowered and somehow or another she got COVID.
Wow.
And how did she do?
She's done all right. She's pretty much recovering, but she says that, 2 or 3 days are okay. And then she hits a day where she has to go to bed at 5 o'clock and she sleeps the clock around.
Wow.
Wow.
It has left her very, very tired.
Exhausted. I've heard that. Yeah.
But I think she's going to start teaching some classes in the next calendar month. So,
Well, she has gifts galore coming up on the 28th.
is she?
I just got a call, right?
Okay.
Well, that's still 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she just, she's spent very easily, but she didn't end up in the hospital, which was good to know.
That's good.
Would be my
Yeah.
worry that I would end up in the hospital because I have had asthma in the past, and so that is
Too.
my point. Yes.
Me too. Asthma.
I'm
Does she
trying.
know where she got it?
Pardon?
Does she know where she got it?
I don't think so.
No.
I think so. My son had it, and he couldn't figure out where he got it. They did they did the contact tracing, and none of his friends had it. So he didn't get it from them, and none of the people he was with tested positive, so he didn't give it to anybody. He doesn't know where he got it from. But he does work at a golf course. It could have been anything, maybe a doorknob that he happened to touch incorrectly.
Or it could have been one of them, somebody was to kill you, never knew that they had it.
Right. I had a little bit of an eye opening. You think you know people and where they go and how cautious they are. But I was on my way to my hairdresser's last week, or 2 weeks ago it was now. And I got like 2 minutes away from the salon and I got a telephone call from her saying, Jean, I have to cancel your appointment because I have been exposed to COVID. And then she told me her friend Joe called her the day after their New Year's Day party together and said that he tested positive for COVID. So all the people, she said, 12 people that
Wow.
were at the party. And I'm like, party? What are you? I didn't even have Christmas with my family and you're going to a New Year's Day
Right.
party?
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And then,
Easy.
and then also one of the girls, a nurse that I work with, she went to Ohio to her sister's house for Christmas. And she came in to work on New Year's Day. And she's in the break room talking to all of us about how she's not feeling so good and blah, blah, blah.
Oh.
2 days later, she went tested positive for COVID. So now I'm thinking, what the heck? People that you think you can trust and people that you think are following the rules, they're not. So
Right.
you have no clue. You could be at the grocery store and, be exposed to the cashier who, yeah, she's got a mask on right then, but she's still touching the same money that you're touching. She has no idea where you went or who you were with or
That's
whatever.
why, that's why I get nervous babysitting, because Colton goes to daycare Monday,
Right.
Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and he's around other people and other babies. And as a matter of fact, we're babysitting him on Saturday night because Andrew's having 3 couples come to watch the football game and to have dinner.
Oh,
Oh.
And I told him, I said, why are you doing this? He says, because they're all in a business where they are tested regularly. All three couples.
take the chance.
And I said, why are you doing this? I says, you're going to kill me. He's like, so they, he says he feels very comfortable with them. They're the same people that they've been seeing
Yeah,
all through this. It's the 3 couples.
yeah.
And they all have children that go to daycare. And I'm like, yeah. So
One of the things that I did learn, a couple of things as a result of my son having it. First of all, when I make a comment about a doorknob, he said that,
Ooh, pretty, Irene.
Ooh,
Pretty.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
nice.
very nice.
oh, nice.
Oh, that is beautiful.
And
Those
your
colors
son-
are pretty together. That green and, yeah, that's real nice.
I love
missed
that
it.
green.
I missed it.
I still gotta do the December bonus block.
I missed it.
You have to show it
Who
again,
missed it?
Irene.
I did.
Karen.
Oh,
I was busy struggling over here with my December placement.
beautiful.
Talk.
Talk, Irene.
Talk,
Go this way.
Irene. Oh, pretty.
Irene, talk while you're holding it up.
Oh, okay.
What?
I see it. Yeah,
Talk
okay.
while you're
Oh,
holding it up.
lovely.
That's
Very nice.
That's
Nice.
beautiful.
Yeah.
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 very nice.
Is that bigger than the 12 and a half?
Yeah,
12 and a half?
this is an 18-inch.
Oh, because I was gonna say, that looks huge.
Yeah.
She's
So when I get them all
beautiful.
together and make a king size quilt, it's probably gonna be humongous.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a huge quilt if you put all of these in. You might end up with 2 quilts. Because they're so big.
It is gonna be big, but the fun thing is gonna be trying to quilt it on Q16. That's gonna be the fun part.
Yep, I agree.
It'll work. It'll
I'm
work.
working on Andrew's the same way.
Yeah.
His is king size sitting over there. I did all the sections, all the borders on the 790, and now I have to go up to the tiara if I ever find time to get this thing finished. But yeah, I hear you. I'm a little nervous about taking that king size thing up on that tiara.
Oh, you'll all do just fine.
Oh, ugh. I've never done anything that big before. It's always been like wall hangings.
I never did either, so
Yeah, but
you're on the club.
Yeah, but at least yours has the stitch regulator. My tiara doesn't. It's the first tiara that came out. And you
Right.
I have it set at 58% speed, and then I put the foot pedal all the way down. And then I get a good enough speed so when I'm moving, my stitches are close. And for me, and Andrew's not going to say, Mom, your stitches are uneven.
Yeah.
So I'm not worrying about it too much. It also has that thing that you hook onto your quilt. I don't even know what the heck it's called. You hook it onto your quilt and it's a remote thing and it regulates the speed based on how fast you're moving your quilt. It's just it's like a remote stitch regulator. It's kind of, I don't use it. I don't like it. It came with it a long time ago.
Well, maybe it's time to turn it in on a new,
Well, Alyssa told me I'm not going to get what I paid for it or anywhere near it.
no, you probably won't. Go on to eBay and see what they're selling for, and that's how
Yeah.
store
Yeah.
gives you a price for what they would give you.
Yeah.
Bless
Also,
you.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Well, we know she hasn't got COVID because she got the shot.
Yeah, I don't have COVID, that's for sure.
They say it doesn't kick in for 2 weeks, though. Is that correct?
That's what, yeah, they say it takes about 2 weeks after your second shot.
Yeah.
So I think I have 4 more days to go, and then I'm good.
Good for you. And have they determined yet whether or not it's going to last forever?
I don't think they know yet. They haven't come up with that.
yeah, some doctors said in the paper, they interviewed him and he said, you can still get COVID while you got the second shot in you until
Right.
it takes effect. And they said they don't know if you'll still get it, but if you get it, it won't be as bad, just like the flu.
Right, it'll just be, but they don't know if it's gonna last, and I think part of it has to do with the fact that things keep mutating. They're not sure how far that's gonna, how far that's gonna go, if they're gonna have to do like the flu shot where you get it every year, or every other year, something like that.
Have you heard whether or not these quote unquote mutations that they're getting into are as deadly or are they weaker?
People were saying, the articles I've read, I've only read a couple on it, that they're more, they're easier to catch. They spread a lot faster, but they're not as, they're no slower than the one that we've before. And it seemed like the one article said that younger people are catching that one a little bit more than the older people.
Well, younger people are out probably doing more things than the older people are doing. So they're with each other more.
Right. They're all back to, they're all back to school, they're going to work, that kind of thing. But supposedly one article, they think right now, both Pfizer and Moderna are going to work against the new variants that they've found. It appears that the vaccines definitely work against those new variants that are coming in Europe and stuff.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah. So that's
Hey,
good.
lady, I'm gonna sign off. Nice seeing you again. See you next week.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
See
you next week.
All right, looking forward to it.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.